listening to a Dynamic Works Productions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, and gamer, Tim K. Trotter. Joining me from not that terrible amount of distance southernly from me is the one, the only, the can't sentence properly Tim in the evening something. I was thinking something, father of something. Father of his own children, Nate
I
Fu.
would hope I'm the father of my own children.
Oh man,
It would be very awkward if I was the father of not my own children, I guess.
I mean,
I have children. I'm
yes,
going
you
to
do.
be their father.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Well, how are you doing this fine evening on Saturday, February 26th?
I am still absolutely exhausted from the schedule shift and trying to, I don't know, manage a sleep schedule.
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah,
still fighting the
those
night. You're still
graveyards
fighting the nights.
these graveyards are kicking my ass. Like,
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
well, I mean, it's not so much the work shift. It's now the weekend, and now I have to be the father of my own children for the next 2 days. Other
Sure.
than that guy that lays in bed all day.
Yeah,
Um,
just that guy. Just that.
so, yeah, it's been a little rough. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning.
Oh, hey, me too.
Right.
Except for different reasons.
Which normally isn't a bad thing, but when I get home from work, I got off work early last night, Friday night,
Okay.
which was Saturday morning.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got home at like 3 a.m. So, yeah, by the time I fell asleep, it was about 4. I woke up at, 6, and then...
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Did you get a nap at all today, my dude?
Well, I got a nap after the girls all woke up and went over to her sister's house, and then I slept from like 8 to 10, and then I've been up a little bit since then. But yeah, it was birthday party for the youngest of the 3, basically my in-laws' kids.
Right on.
Yeah, so it was chasing around children. They ordered a taco guy, which was good and fun. Yeah, just a regular, like a street taco.
Tacos?
Yeah, street taco, like a street vendor type tacos. But they come to your backyard and they bring all the supplies and everything, and yeah, you basically get catered tacos, and it's good stuff. But we had the canned margaritas to go with it, and beer and everything, and we all.
Well, this is very important to me. What kind of canned margaritas to go with it?
Not the Cayman Jacks. I forget the
Okay.
brand of them. It's something you can get out here at Smart and Final. Apparently, everyone likes them. Like Old Ridge something, I think.
Okay. I'll have to
But
look into
yeah,
that.
they're like 10%ers. So it's a good healthy dose of boozing.
Fair enough.
So.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I mean, like other than that, they because we're having all the family over, my brother-in-law decided to hire a house cleaning service and came and basically did a sweep and clear. Um, and apparently they like pledged the hardwood floors. So at one point in time, I did an old banana peel slip and straight back, landed on my back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it fucked? Do you need to see a chiropractor?
No, but it was just the last thing I needed tonight.
Mm,
Like,
sorry.
just I'm tired, I'm old, and now I'm falling, thankfully I didn't bang my head against the hardwood.
Mm.
So yeah.
Well, my fuck up just an hour before recording was we got back home an hour ago. We were at our one and only moderator's house
Hmm.
this day, this whole day, playing our tabletop RPG Pathfinder. And we get back, and I'm unpacking all the stuff. I have this boom mic here. Everything's all packed up and shit. I have all the cables every fucking where and stuff. And I was wearing contacts. Right now I'm wearing glasses for those who can't see in the podcast form. And like they'd been bugging me since 3. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to my bathroom. I'm gonna rinse off the contacts. I'm gonna put them back in my eye. So because I guess, uh, getting on in years, for like the last 5 years, like I don't at nighttime use regular, just basic saline contact solution. I use
Hmm.
the stuff that's like
The Optifree.
like
Yeah.
yes, Optifree exactly. It's basically hydrogen peroxide with a couple other chemicals, and then there's a stone in it, and it changes it basically to alkaline saline
Hmm.
within 6 hours. And so, like a dumbass, I had my contact out, and I'm rinsing it with the the poison, and I stick it directly in my left eye, which is not the first time this has happened. And I'm like, oh, that feels so. And I'm like scrambling to try to like not die
So you
enough so that
basically
I can
stuck a hot
concentrate.
poker in your eye. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course pulled it out, rinsed it off, and I clearly wasn't thinking straight because I rinsed it off in the same fucking
And stuck it back in your eye.
solution and stuck it right back in. I'm like, ah! Like I did it twice in a row. I was like,
You're not allowed to adult today.
oh fuck. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put my glasses on.
I think that was the
and,
smart call.
and these can go in the case for the evening. So you might not be able to tell, but this eye is like basically just crying automatically, probably for
Now
the
that you
remainder of
mention
the
it,
evening.
it is a little bloodshot.
Yeah, it's probably not great.
So this
um,
is your co-host, One-Eyed Tim.
yeah, One-Eyed Tim. Yep, and we're not even playing Sea of Thieves, so it's not even theme appropriate. It's just life being whatever. Um, so yeah, so that's where we find ourselves.
This is why I don't want contacts. Like everyone keeps saying, you got glasses, you should get contacts. It's much more convenient and you can see like normal as opposed to having the lack of peripheral. And I'm just like, no, I can't be trusted sticking my fingers in my eyes.
Mm. See, I'm the exact opposite. I would prefer to wear contacts all the time, but I'm older now and I can't. So what I usually do is I'll wake up glasses, and then to noon, unless I'm someplace working, then I'll switch to contacts.
Hmm.
Because my contacts don't last as long as they used to, because I've just had too much construction shit and concrete dust and stuff in the eyes, and so my eyes just not quite making
Right. They're really sensitive to
the
irritant.
liquidness.
Yeah.
that they're supposed. It's not that they're sensitive to the irritant; it's that they dry out,
Gotcha.
and so they don't keep the lenses as lubricated as they used to, which was all day, every day.
Mhm.
Um,
And I'm sure
so
dumping hydrogen peroxide in your eye isn't helping the situation.
well, I'm sure if there's any dirt in there, I have cleaned it out by now. The left eye only.
Yeah. And that was the other reason, like with the stuff that I work with, prior to working aerospace, I was working at a shooting range, so I always had like a film of lead on my finger.
I did not actually know that you
Yeah,
did that.
but we've talked about it before in passing.
I
And then so
don't remember
I
this.
worked at a shooting range for 6 years, and then I worked in aerospace where I was around basically, kerosene and Jet A, um, and Skydrol, which is a
So,
non-flammable
were you like
poly.
a range officer, or
Yeah,
what were you
exactly.
in the shooting range?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
range officer. Got a little bit into instruction, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I literally feel like I never knew this about you. Fair enough.
But yeah, so
Fair
yeah,
enough.
lead or chemical on my fingers. I'm just going. Yeah, like I don't care how much you scrub, you're not getting all that off. And the last thing I wanted is phosphate ester in my eye.
Mm,
So yeah, just
fair enough.
glasses.
Okay. Fair enough. To each their own.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we should spin this thing. Find out where we go in this evening's events.
Sure.
Do you have a cheat sheet pulled up by chance?
I have the Discord up.
This is what I mean by the cheat sheet.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Damn, that is like right on the line.
Oh,
It's
just pick
almost
one.
a little. It's we've landed on Earth. Sun's Earth.
Earth would be. Of course, it's not. It's technology. There we go.
Oh, technology. What do we got in here?
Oh, Google wanting to turn your old Mac into a Chromebook.
Yeah. So this is an interesting idea. I think so. Google is making something called called Chrome OS Flex,
Yes, that's it. I just
and
scrolled up and found it.
it is designed for old Macs, specifically of the Intel era,
Mm.
that can
Older PCs
allege.
and Macs. Yeah.
I guess I just say PCs and Macs.
Mm-hmm.
So you can install Chrome OS Flex on your PCs and Macs, so they're secure, boot fast, and don't slow down over time. Will automatically update over the background and can be managed from the cloud. Essentially, Chrome OS Flex will turn your old PC and Mac into a Chromebook,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is a terrible idea because I hate Chromebooks and despise people who get enjoyment out of Chromebooks. However, I will say I like the novelty of the idea.
Right.
And I mentioned something to you that there is something like this on the Mac end called Core OS, where
Mm-hmm.
they have the current OSs that are stripped down to not necessarily feature parity, because they can't necessarily get that because sometimes there's different components, but at the very least to
Right.
OS parity within limits of the hardware. And I actually almost did this with the old laptop that ran this show. The only caveat to that is updating it is a son of a bitch and
Right.
a half. Whereas obviously with this, it would appear, since it is running Chrome OS, which is already a web-based OS, whoop-de-doo dots updates in the background.
Right. And it's at least got a legitimate support channel.
Yeah.
Right. An upgrade path. Whereas a lot of these, I'm sure you could, if you really want to get fancy, you could load Ubuntu on your old MacBook.
Sure.
Right. But oh
Sure.
look, I've got to update that video driver. Great. You're going to spend 4 hours and possibly brick your entire system doing it.
Yeah. So you can get it and install it to a USB stick, and
now I like that idea. Like you could literally just pen drive it, plug it in, run it off the pen drive, and go, does this work? Great. No. Whatever. Or you can just run it off of there. Leave it.
I mean,
Leave your
I
Mac
think
the way it was before.
I think the caveat to that is chances are that Mac USB port is not going to be USB 3.0
Sure.
that's being plugged into, so it's going to be pretty slow. Having booted many Macs off of a USB 2.0 port, it's not an ideal life.
Right, but it's enough that you can get an idea whether everything's going to fully function before wiping out an entire operating system, even if it is no longer supported. And yeah, like you had mentioned this, and you're like, why would anyone do this? And I have an old, I want to say it's a 2012 or a 2014 MacBook, or not MacBook, iMac, and there's nothing I can do with it. Like, I can no longer update the operating system on it because Mac doesn't officially support it. And I can't even update the browsers on it because Chrome no longer supports the operating system. Neither does Safari, neither does, and so like Java doesn't support it, so I can't even browse the web on it.
Well, I'm sure there's a workaround for that. So it's interesting because the top comment, and this article comes from Mac Rumors, is actually, it's like, this is a great idea, but it'd sure be nice if Google would let me use my 5-year-old Chromebook as a Chromebook.
Right.
So, yeah, silly. And then I think the thing that I commented on in the Discord on this was, I can just see Apple suing on this, since this is a officially sanctioned Google project, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe Apple doesn't care. Hard to say.
And again, it's and I think I'd mentioned that as well, is it's something that Apple is no longer going to support. They basically said, you're done.
Sure.
We're not updating anything. And there have been a lot of right to repair laws that have been passing.
Sure.
That this might get covered under, because it's like, otherwise it becomes electronic waste. So this breathes some life into something that otherwise would just be garbage and end up in a landfill somewhere, or end up in a recycling center. And again, like that old iMac is something that's perfect for my kids to go on and watch some stupid YouTube video instead of hogging up either one of mine or my wife's computers in the process.
You don't have like little kid tablets or nothing?
We do, but they're not. They'd rather watch something on a TV or a computer screen than on a 7-inch tablet.
That's okay.
Right?
Fair. Fine enough.
They're snobs about fidelity. I'm sorry.
This is a big thing, and caused me to do a knee-jerk move that I'll get to in live stories. So Western Digital, who is one of the primary manufacturers of NAND and AMD SSD chips, has lost 6.5 billion gigabytes worth of usable SSD chips due to a particulate contaminant in one of the substrate components of the SSD. This renders them basically garbage.
Sure.
And as Western Digital is one of the big 3 suppliers of SSDs in the world, the other 2 being Samsung and SanDisk, actually. This means that SSD prices across the board are going to spike horrendously. Industry analysts are saying as much as 33% upcharge on all these SSDs, which sure enough, especially if you look at the Western Digital stuff on Amazon right now, they are redonkulous.
Right.
And it's bad across the board, because when I dug into it a little bit deeper, since this article came out on the 11th of this month, this affects literally probably most people on the planet. It affects you as a PC user. If you're trying to get something for your PC, it affects the next PC you purchase, most likely. It also affects SSDs across Android phones, Apple phones, you name it.
Right. Car infotainment systems, which we're already having a chip shortage.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a really bad thing. We do know that this 6.5 billion gigabyte loss was localized to one of the major facilities that Western Digital has in Japan, of all places, which is quite interesting, as they are known for being much cleaner than we are in general and high quality control. So the fact that it happened at all meant it skipped the QA thing or missed or something happened, and it got to the point where they were baking the chips, and then they went to test them and went, oh,
snap. Yeah.
these don't work. Oh, and then the next set don't work. Oh, and the okay, shut the plant down. Something's wrong. So that's bad.
Yeah,
For
someone left the barn door
all
open.
computer people. Yeah, basically, yeah. And the cows have come in and shit everywhere.
Yep. That is
Probably
what
chickens would be a better analogy.
what we call in the industry FOD, foreign object foreign object debris.
Yeah.
And it's in aerospace, that's something that's very, very critical. We have to maintain certain environments, positive pressure environments on the assembly side of it. We have things that in the process of testing it, we have to add a part or substitute a part, and we're not allowed to touch them in the test lab because the test lab isn't clean enough. We have to run one step of it, send it back up to our clean room, have them swap out the parts, send it back down.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's bad. Just forewarning y'all, Fork fam, that
if your SSD is doubled and tripled, this is why.
Yep. Or if you see a NVMe M.2 terabyte or above on sale on Amazon, which is what happened with me this week, you should probably grab it.
Right.
If you've been holding off, because it's not going to get better for like the next year, specifically in that category. Yeah. The Samsung Galaxy S22 series has released their benchmarks according to PC Mag, and it is running rings around the Google Pixel 6, not running rings around the Apple iPhone 13 series. However, famous tech YouTuber Marquise Brownlee has officially dubbed the Samsung Galaxy S22 line as the iPhone of Android.
Okay.
Singing high praise for the particular UI Galaxy skin that's usually on these Android phones.
I'm familiar with it.
Just saying that it's a cut above the previous model by a high margin, and the usability factor and the
the One UI 4 interface is pretty.
Whichever it is.
Yeah.
Is that something you have available on your phone, or is it only on the new phones? So you have that as interface now.
Yep.
Okay. And would you say that it is super user friendly?
It is, yeah, it's extremely user friendly. And actually bakes in a lot of stuff. You know, in the case of my foldable phablet phone, builds in support for modifying aspect ratio for apps that may not be compatible with the form factor.
Yeah.
So yeah, like right now, because the screen aspect ratio is not 4:3 or 16:9. Some apps just go, I don't know what this is, and they'll try to force one or the other, and you either get blown out picture where like some of the Instagram reels or Facebook videos or TikToks, like it'll cut off the top and bottom of it so it fills the screen. The OS has built-in aspect ratio controls for each app if you want to do that. So yeah, they took a lot of things into consideration with the next generation of phones coming up. Yeah, if you get one that's a 16:10, you can very easily adjust it to suit your needs.
Great.
Right?
Sounds great. So the next piece is going to be somewhat complicated to talk about, given that it involves the International Space Station. and what is presently occurring in the world over in Europe. So, I guess I'm just trying to skirt our no politics policy here.
Right.
Which, I guess the loophole is if it affects the stuff we talk about. So, Ukraine is being invaded by Russia right now, and they're getting bombed to hell, and they're fighting in the streets, and there's essentially war in the streets and killing. It's being officially dubbed as a conflict by U.S. military, whereas NATO and the United Nations and other stuff dub it as other things. And anything could happen at this point because it just happened Thursday. Where I'm particularly coming from on this is the International Space Station, which has 2 Russian cosmonauts on it, who by all accounts are pretty good dudes. The Russian government has stated recently, as of last night, actually, that the 2 cosmonauts can go fuck themselves and can ride the International Space Station down to Earth when it crashes in 2024.
Wow.
Which is quite shocking to me, given the fact that, Russia has a very long history with space stuff. But, there's a lot of stuff going on, including basically complete shutdown of their economy because they are being sanctioned to high hell and barred from basically any kind of money use from Apple Pay to Google Pay, Samsung Pay, banks, you name it. And apparently, one of the reasons that they can go to hell is because some sanction that was passed here in the last couple of days, for whatever reason, and I don't know the exact details, but this is what I read, prevents the International Space Station from crashing in one of the oceans somewhere, and will instead crash either on USA land or somewhere in Europe, whenever the hell it's scheduled to crash in 2024, which is still super stupid to me that it could crash and we can't fucking recover this thing for like a fucking museum or some shit. So that's crazy to me. And of course, what was tweeted out this evening by our very own South African native turned American
Mr. Musk,
eccentric billionaire said, "Cool, we got you. We'll plan a mission and we'll come rescue you."
Right.
Which is hilarious because I actually cracked a joke about this last night when this news broke. I was like, "Oh shit!" And then probably none of the nations could save them because it's gonna fucking treaty shit or some fucking shit or something.
Well, that and
because
for the longest time, most countries had a reliance on the Soyuz program in order to even get into space.
Well, and speaking of that, Russia just sent all their people in the European Space Agency home. In addition to all this, which is not surprising. But yeah, so just a fucking Sunday rocket rag for Elon Musk. Fucking gonna send us stuff. And I do believe Russia bombed the infrastructure in Ukraine, and they lost their cellular and internet. And then, of course, Musk sent over Starlinks. It's just fucking beaming them internet, which is like the most big dick energy move I could possibly think of. Like, okay, we're gonna save your space people, and then we're gonna give the country that you're bombing internet.
Right. By the way.
Ooh. Ooh-wee. Yeah, and then I guess just since I'm on the topic, because I don't want to get too much into it, my last name is Trotter, and a lot of my family background comes from Ukraine, and I've never visited there personally, but my heritage goes back to Kucherevi as a last name, and I've heard stories of people coming over boats and shit. So it's just like, and I've also, looked into the fact that I guess Ukraine is like the #1 exporter of component Xeon for both computer chip manufacturing making, because it's used in a lot of chips. A lot of people don't know that. And then obviously neon signs and stuff, but I would think the computer chip is perhaps more important.
Right.
And I actually just read an article tonight about, I guess they have their own Forbes over in Ukraine, and this dude was tweeting off, hiding somewhere while bombs are going off, all the different things that Ukrainians have made, from one of the co-creators of PayPal was Ukrainian, guy who made Grammarly, which you've probably seen ads for on the web, Ukrainian. There's some AI face sensing software that I guess Microsoft uses, made by Ukrainian. The list goes on.
Right.
So
Some
yeah,
significant contributions, or at least
yeah, it's pretty nuts right now. So that's what I got for technology. Do you have anything particular to
I don't
point out? Technology? Okay, cool. Well, let's move right along here. All right, that's air. Which fucking
That would
topics
be
air?
video games.
Oh my goodness, video games. Well, Nate, what you been playing?
What do you think I've been playing?
Either nothing or the Witch Queen.
The Witch Queen, yes.
Okay, cool. So I can actually speak a little bit. I did not purchase it. However, I did play everything that it allowed me to play before it said, all right, now you really need to buy it. So is it the greatest expansion since the Taken King? Yes or no?
Story-wise, narrative-wise, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Gameplay-wise?
Gameplay-wise, I maybe.
It's Destiny.
It's right. It's Destiny.
It's more Destiny.
The addition of the legendary campaign was a very nice welcome change.
Classic Bungie move, honestly.
Very right, and it's surprising that they didn't put that in sometime sooner. It is the right amount of aggravatingly hard, and the way they scale multiplayer. Right, if you go in solo, it's the same amount of enemies. They're just a little more squishy. But if you bring a fire team, it just makes those, and it scales up 1 person, 2 person, 3 person. It scales up the difficulty of or I would say the toughness of the enemies, not really necessarily the difficulty. And it's just, it's weird. Like, who'd have thunk that was something that people would desire? And
I can't
you're
believe
right.
it
It's
hasn't been in the game until now.
right.
I literally can't even fucking believe they haven't had level scaling until this point. It's mind-bogglingly absurd to me.
The fact that they managed to find, and this is something I've been kind of looking at, going, why can't we just put contest mode on everything and let people enter it, at a lower level? And because that with the contest mode where they basically cap your power.
Is that a feature in Destiny? Because I don't know.
Yeah, the new legendary, you can't over level for it. So if you go in at 1400 power level, it says no, you're 1350, and the difficulty is 1370.
Okay.
So you're basically artificially handicapped down. So everyone, you go in with someone that's 1550, they're going to have the same hard time you are, even if you walked in at 1350.
Okay.
So I kind of like that they do that. And this was something that they've done to even out the raid races. That's where the contest mode came from. So because you'd have the top 10 content creators that basically that's their career is playing a video game. They'd have 10 days to just level, and they'd go into these raids over leveled so much that they were walking through stuff. But dad gamer like me that only gets a couple hours a day, an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a week, has no chance of even taking a sniff at like a day 1 raid race. By putting in this contest mode, I have an equal shot at it. I just have to hit the floor, hit the minimum. And the minimum on this one, I believe, is 1530.
Okay.
So
So, you think the story is the best it's ever been? Yeah.
so far, yeah, I'm not even through it, but I've been spoiled, unfortunately. Not by our Discord. I saw someone I saw you removed a spoiler, and it's like, nah, I've already been witness to the end of the story.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't remove a spoiler for Destiny though. It was for something else.
Okay.
If you don't know what it is, that's fine with me. I was trying to protect you, my dude.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I saw the
Um,
comment. I just assumed because it was someone was talking about we were talking about Destiny and not just Ice
yeah,
Blade.
it actually wasn't. It was
Okay. Cool.
um. So I guess what I'm curious about. So here was my experience with it. So first of all, uh, I experienced this on my brand new PlayStation 5, which I have in my possession as of this week, of which I wrote a very long diatribe about, which I will probably recount for people here on on work. Um, but I played it on PlayStation 5 because it was a Tuesday night game night with the boys, and I had just received my PlayStation a day before, and so I was to say scrambling to get my shit together so that I could play the games that I usually play with my boys would be an understatement. I made it. What ended up happening was I wasn't actually supposed to be playing with the boys that night because a number of them were like, "New Destiny, going to be playing Destiny. You know, that's what we're doing." I was like, "Okay, I'm probably not going to be doing that." What happened was I got off early and my Destiny was updated on my PS5 by the time I got home. And so I was like, okay, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll see what's up
Right.
with this new thing. I have a new console, I have a new controller, all my shit's linked, so I got all my fucking shit together. Thought the opening cutscene was interesting.
The music
Thought
music always is on point.
actually thought the music was a little meh for me personally.
Hmm.
It felt a little not orchestrated. Like I could tell there's a lot of synth horns. I was
Okay.
like, I don't know if that's stylistic choice or COVID. Hard to tell. Because I do know that orchestrating stuff in the age of COVID has been an absolute fucking cluster nightmare because you have to record everything separately.
Right.
Some people have done it, but I've heard that it is very difficult and time consuming. You can do it,
And
but it's
expensive.
very, yeah, because you're booking out whole studios and stuff. It's crazy. Anyways, so I thought it was a little underwhelming for me, which I was surprised by because I didn't expect to be underwhelmed by the sound at all, actually. I thought getting up in the ship, I was like, okay, cool, we're going to the ship. I was like, okay, this is like reskinned Taken King. Okay, fine, all right. Um, and then you see a hint of the fucking Witch Queen, and then she bounces, and then there's like her Shield Throne World thing, or Sword Logic World, whatever the fuck the thing's called.
Throne World.
Yeah, Throne World, and then you kind of set off. I was immediately thrown once again by the fact that there's a new voice actress for
Ikora.
Ikora,
No
which
longer Gina Torres. Yeah.
I knew about. She was replaced several years ago. It's just still weird.
Right.
It's as weird as Cade and Forsaken and and all
Right.
that sort of stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, and then it launched me into it, and I fully expected by the end of that little prologue mission that I was going to be like, okay, cool, buy stuff. And there was a thing that popped up that was like buy stuff, but then I hit cancel, and then I still had a mission marker, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll do this next mission, and let me do a grand total of 4 missions, which I was
Yeah, it lets you
pleased
really get a
by.
good taste of what you were getting out of it.
Yeah, which I was pleased that they let you taste that much because I know on Shadow was it Shadowkeep, the moon one,
Mm-hmm.
um, that it would fuck you immediately after the first mission.
Right.
I know that because I was playing with someone at the time, and they were like, "Well, fuck this, I'm not doing that."
Right.
So I enjoyed the missions. I enjoyed where the story was going with the hive having the light for some reason, and that they had like weird bastardized ghosts. And there was like some dude, what was his name? Lance, Larry, or some shit. The ghost that like was like,
Finch.
oh hey, yeah, Finch.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, whatever his name is. I thought that was interesting. My freebie time, so to speak, didn't extend past that, but I mingled around. I went everywhere that I felt I was able to go in the new
the freebie time basically gave you enough
zone space.
gave you a reason to be in those new areas.
Yeah, so my overall impression, especially after running around the zones, was that the whole thing kind of had like this weird medieval Alice in Wonderland, Queen of Hearts kind of vibe to everything, which I was like, okay, that's fine. That's what they're going for. But that was not a turn on for me specifically. And then playing the new stuff and playing the new critters with the light, I was like, okay, that's fine. It's not really that terribly exciting. I liked the glaive. I thought the glaive was cool. I couldn't figure out how to use the shield thing. I was like, what do I need to do the shield thing? But okay. Didn't figure out that part, but I liked that it was a first-person combat weapon for the first time and long range. So I was like, that's cool.
Longish range, yeah.
Yeah, so the overall vibe I got from me was like, especially after playing it, like, I played it for like 3 hours or something. Because the thing that happened, like I said, with my boys was they're still on OG PlayStation, and as Reddit will tell you, PlayStation 4 got fucked with the update. So it was
because you needed the compatibility pack, then
so it replaced the whole package, so 70 gigs there. But then there was 3 other 70 gig downloads of content patch 1, 2, and 3 that had to be installed sequentially.
And separately, because most people don't have the. Anytime you get a 70 gig patch, it's really 140, right? Because you got to download the 70, have enough space to move it.
Well, and then on PlayStation, there's download time. Then there's copying time, which is often twice whatever the download is. And it's painfully slow, even if you've slapped an SSD in a PS4 Pro, for that matter, which a lot of my friends have. And they were just like, well, this is not happening tonight. So back to regular.
Fire up your Stadia.
Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody has Stadia, Nate.
Everybody has Stadia. If you have a Google address, you have Stadia. And you can play Destiny.
But are they gonna do it though?
I'm just saying. So. It's an option. If you wanted to get in there and play with your boys.
If you're a Destiny diehard, sure.
Right.
That's definitely the case. So for me, my kind of consensus was more Destiny. It definitely seemed like there were some things improved in the UI and stuff since the last time I dipped my toes into Destiny. But Witch Queen wasn't feeling it. I was feeling the story, but honestly, if that's the only thing that grabs me, like I think I'm just gonna watch a fucking YouTube video of the story and be done with it. As shitty as that sounds, like I've purchased most of the Destiny expansions anyway, so I don't feel too terribly like not doing one at all, or to start up that habitual cycle of love and hate once more.
Self-immolation.
Yeah, definitely feel the self-immolation on Destiny. Like you, I touched a bit of Destiny and went on to many other things. I have a lot to say on gaming. I have a new PlayStation 5. I posted pictures in the Discord. I knew it was going to be gigantic.
It's a chonky boy.
I was still not fucking prepared for how ludicrous
And I love
the
what you said about it. It's like,
fucking
I've seen
size
the
of that
thing in
was.
person behind glass, and it just
Yeah.
does not, like, holding it in your hands is a
It
whole different experience.
well, it wasn't even holding it in the hand. So I think I said in the thing I have this three stack
Hmm.
Walmart
Yeah,
entertainment
it's right
center.
there. I can see it in the picture. But yeah.
Yeah, and like obviously standing it up wasn't gonna happen.
Hmm.
Thing is 17 inches tall,
Hmm.
something ridiculous, which is more than the gaming PC to my right, more than my monitor fully extended up, like more than my stack of my RAID arrays, which are 8 hard drives tall. Uh, and then the thing that really fucking freaked me out was um, I pushed it back into the sort of the shelf, uh, and it barely
Hmm.
fits, not just on the shelf, but also like it like sticks out a smidgen from the shelf because it's so goddamn deep
Hmm.
too. Like it is so ridiculous. Then on top of that, this weird ass curvy fucking space shape.
Right.
I have a 4 terabyte mechanical hard drive game drive, which thankfully, since I'm much later in the PlayStation 5 cycle, they have hard drive support, and you can thankfully hop swap from PS4 to PS5 with it. Um, but because the thing is such a weird shape, like it's kind of to the side, sort of underneath it, but sticking out some because of the curvy ass weirdness of the thing. Because you can't just slide it into the thing or put it
Of course not, because you got the leg.
really to its
Right.
ear. Yeah, it's fucking.
Yeah.
It's a fucking
It
whole
was a
thing.
stylistic choice that I still chuckle every time I see one. It looks like someone has a one of those white binders,
Yep.
right? The 3-ring binder, and it's overstuffed
Yep.
on one side, and then they tried to
Yep.
shove it on a shelf.
Yep. And it had sex with a humidifier and a Wi-Fi router.
Hmm.
Yep. 100%.
Yep.
It is 100%. Um, so I wrote a thing on my experience with this, and I do have some updates from it too.
Oh no.
I posted this days ago. Where the fuck did I write this?
It's in a video game.
I know, but I have it in a note.
Oh, okay. Fork notes. Tim's time with the new PS5.
Yeah. I'm just gonna read the fucking thing.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, uh, in the N64 PS1 era, I was an N64 guy. PS2 GameCube era, Xbox era, I was an Xbox GameCube guy. And then the PS3 360 Wii era, I was most certainly a 360 guy. And then the PS4 Wii U Xbox One era, I was a PS4 guy. To be clear, at present, I own all the consoles mentioned. And now I own all the current consoles too. It's true I've had an Xbox Series X since launch day, mostly as Halo is in my heart and soul. But in the last year, I usually only played my PS4 with my boys on multiplayer nights. Otherwise, it's been rather dusty. I say this as previously, PS4 was my go to for literally everything. So when I speak about PS5's pros and cons, I hope you can see that I'm ultimately coming from a platform agnostic, clearly favored one specific console in a generation. I'm going to divide this into a huge ass pro con list. And, we can tally them up if you want to keep a running score, Nate. So, pro, it's generally more quiet than the PS4 Pro. Because the PS4 Pro is a loud ass motherfucker. It's like a goddamn jet engine hurricane wind turbine pipe.
Hmm.
Ridiculous. Con, it's not as quiet as an Xbox Series X. Like Xbox Series X, even on max load, like I like sometimes I'll put my ear to it. I was like, is it on?
Hmm.
Like I see the light. Is it on? It's so fucking quiet. But then you put your hand near the vent and it's like, oh yeah, it's on,
It's on.
baby.
Yeah.
So pro, regarding the controller, I like that the face buttons are ever so slightly rounded. This pleases me as that's closer to the round buttons on an Xbox or
Mhm.
Nintendo Switch Pro controller. The D-pad seems generally better than the PS4. The sticks feel identical to the PS4, which is good to me. I like that compared to the PS4 or Xbox or Switch, they appear to have like some sort of weird slippery like anti-scuff ring around them,
Mhm.
which honestly is a pretty smart move because as anybody knows, especially Xbox boys, like your stick neck gets white plastic death usage on it, as
Mhm.
everybody knows. So these have some sort of slip ring, which is interesting. Um, the L1 and R1 buttons are even bigger and more clickier than the PS4's, which I previously liked a lot. I like how the PS5's DualSense controller looks. It looks busy and modern and high tech.
Mhm.
I like that it has a 1500 milliamp internal rechargeable battery, which is up from a shitty.
800.
I wrote paltry here, but I'm going to say shitty now. From a shitty 800 milliamp battery
What
in
would that
PS4.
get you, just offhand?
What do you mean?
What would an 800 milliamp battery get you offhand, game time wise? A
Oh, on
day?
a PS4,
Yeah.
3 hours if you don't have a headset in,
And if you have a headset in,
like 2.5, 2 hours.
that's
Shit.
yeah.
Yeah, I would switch between two controllers in a game night, easy. Sometimes a third, like after I had like a little quick charge Energizer cradle thing.
Gotcha. And it didn't
Um,
didn't have like a replaceable battery like the Xboxes do.
no, it has internal like the Switch, but unlike the Xboxes and the Switches, the PlayStation 4 battery, nor does the PlayStation 5 battery last 50 fucking hours.
Right.
Like it just doesn't. So it's cool that it has a bigger battery, and you can feel it in the weight
Mhm.
of the controller too. Um, I say that I'm actually generally like the touchpad on PS4, and it's cool to see it continuing on PS5.
Mhm.
Though I'm gonna say a caveat on that. So like, I'm actually just gonna grab it so I can show you. So this is my busted ass PS4 controller.
Mhm.
As a square rectangle touchpad.
Yep.
There is still a touchpad on PS5,
Right.
but it's like got these like weird wings on it.
Yeah,
However,
if you didn't know, you wouldn't know there was a touchpad there.
yeah, because
Like
it's
clearly on
seamless.
the old controller, that's a touchpad.
Yeah, you can see because there's like little divots
Right.
in the plastic and whatnot. And actually, you can't see it, but the divots are still there in the plastic
Right.
on the touchpad on the PS5. But they've got these like wings on the side there. But your touch area is still the same
Mhm.
circumference. So you'll find yourself like slipping off of the touchpad for no reason. And it's like, what?
Right.
What? That's so dumb. Um, so yeah. Um, Huge props to Sony's design team for a illuminated built-in mute button. Huge fan of this. I feel every controller should have this. It's a nice, soft orange hue when it's on, and then when it's off, it's just not lit. And it's below the um, they have a PlayStation button here in the center that's like your home button,
Mhm.
comparable to the Xbox guide button or the
Right.
Nintendo Switch's home button, and it's like way down there where you would never hit it with your thumb. Good placement. Um, Feels nice as a button. Just a cool little neat
For
extra
anyone on
button.
the audio side of it that doesn't have like if you have an Xbox Elite, it would be roughly the spot where your profile buttons would be. Your profile
Mm.
changer on
Yeah,
an
yeah, you're
Xbox
right
Elite
because they've
controller.
got those extra buttons in the middle,
Yep.
which is where the upload button would be on a series controller.
There you go.
More or less. I think they're a little bit different though. So as a pro, I like the idea of the DualSense, as it's called, the haptic feedback by using sonic coils as their haptic. It's not really a motor, as their haptic
Scheme.
technology of choice. And I like as the idea that it has these digitally programmable tension feedback L2 and R2 triggers. My palms, and I state this very specifically here before I get into the cons, my palms curve wonderfully onto the handles of the DualSense. Like the DualSense has these nice, just like a real slight curve to it on the side. Whereas if you compare that to like a PS4 controller, it's just straight angled and then a round nub to grab onto. So that's where my pros end for the controller.
Sure.
Holding this controller compared to the DualShock 4 feels fucking weird. And you shouldn't say that when you grab a new controller over a prior generation. You don't want a controller to feel fucking weird.
Okay.
And I went back and forth with in text with our very unrecognized Damien Newman over what specifically it was that bothered me. And it took me a while to like figure out like what exactly it was. I was like, God, I'm holding it, clearly a controller, got almost the same buttons. Like what? Why does something feel fucking weird about holding this controller? And so I figured it out. So on the previous PS4 controller called the DualShock 4, or any of the previous Xbox or Nintendo Switch controllers, there is a quote unquote groove in the crevice that your middle finger can kind of sit into. Like for example, here showing Nate on camera, you can see that the DualShock has this like nice little groove right here, and there's grooves on Xbox, and there's grooves on Nintendo Switch Pro controller. So it's hard to see here, but this is very flat on the back of the controller.
Oh, okay.
And so my fucking middle fingers meet.
Right, you've got nothing to hold on to.
Back because there's nothing fucking here.
Interesting.
And I can put my fingers down here, but I'm moving my whole hand way lower than I is comfortable to be. And it's just ass, and I'm a average height 5'10" man, of average weight, and I have fairly slender fingers. Yeah, is there no groove on the? Nate's holding up the Google Stadia controller.
Yeah, there's no groove on that.
No groove back there? Yeah, what happens to your middle fingers on those boys?
Well, because it's got a long dongle on it, right? There's plenty of place for me. I can literally hold with 2 fingers under here. So my middle fingers become just irrelevant. I can grab them with my thumbs.
Okay. Well,
right.
You. So for me, that fucks me up, and I'm still getting used to it. Even though I am enjoying my gaming time on the machine, I'm just saying it's a personal preference.
Yeah.
Just
now
be wary.
I can see how that would feel weird now that I'm just between my Stadia controller and my Elite. Like,
well, it's just weird because
awkward.
there's always been a fucking crevice there. Like always on all of the controllers,
even the Duke.
Unless I'm mistaken, even on the old the PlayStation 2 and 1 controllers, which are basically identical, there was some form of.
I don't know if it was a groove or if it was more like this, where it just had a real good solid leg.
Yeah.
That you could hang on to.
Yeah, it's weird. There's just no groove on the DualSense. It's fucking weird. There's no other way I can say it. The controller though has quite a bit of girth to it. Probably a lot from the voice coils and the motors and the triggers and all the fucking
Big ass
technology in these
battery.
fucking controllers and the big ass battery. So it's got a bit of girth to it, which actually gives it this really nice premium feel. Because even though this is a PlayStation 4 controller and it's busted to all hell, like you can hear just the creepy ass plastic to this, but you can hear this even on a new controller.
Sure.
Um, the DualShock
It's still
5,
plastic, yeah.
like, can anybody hear it? They can't hear
No.
anything, right? Like I'm bending the shit out of this DualShock 5.
Same thing with my Elite.
Or sorry, it's not a DualShock 5, the DualSense. Sorry. Right. So yeah, so the build quality is way higher than the cheap ass, busted ass PS4.
What does the controller cost if you were to buy a second one?
I can't remember off the top of my head. It's either $60 or $70. I'm not sure which it is.
That's pretty damn good.
I think it's right in line with Xboxes. I know Switches is the most expensive. But also for my money, Switches is still built like a fucking goddamn tank, and will give you 60 plus hours a game. So just saying. So yeah, so the controller's super thick. Perhaps also some of that extra girth is in the plastic to accommodate the voice coils, because I know they're quite large in the handles as well as the geared worm drive system that happens on the trigger pulls as well. But yeah, the whole flatness, it makes my middle fingers fling outwards so that I'm almost touching, and it just feels plain weird. And you can't adjust more downwards, at least for me, without it feeling awkward on the sticks or the buttons. But also because, in comparison to the DualShock 4, which had just a plain old basic bitch rounded, super rounded egg ends, they lobbed the fucking ends off, and they're like fucking flat, which makes it look cool, but like my pinkies want to fly off on the bottom, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's like one of those things of like, ooh, she's gonna feel so sexy, and this doesn't quite feel. This does not feel as sexy as it looks. It's gonna look good
sitting on your shelf, and it's so form over function.
It's a weird choice,
right?
And I feel like some of the choices that they made are just to be fucking different for no reason.
There are a lot of design choices on PlayStation in general. That are just to be different. And I think the PS5 was one of those. So you're just like, let's make it weird looking.
Hard to say.
Right? Or let's make it distinct. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially having them all now, the PS5 definitely looks like something from the future. It doesn't quite look like any of our modern chic aesthetic stuff. It doesn't look like a Switch. Certainly doesn't look like the monolithic Xbox that has a rather abstract,
it is not going to blend in with anything else in your entertainment center.
No,
except for maybe your Wi-Fi router, if you happen to have your Wi-Fi router on your entertainment center.
Well, I do actually, but I don't have a white one. So it is now the second white thing in my entertainment center.
But I mean,
because I got another white thing today.
A Series X and an Xbox One, you could if you didn't know better, you could mistake them for a DVD player or a something, right? PS5, no. Like other than, why do you have a binder on your entertainment center?
I mean, when you see it in person, it definitely doesn't look like a binder. It's just like, what is that weird looking thing?
Right.
So for my time with the console in just a little less than a week, I've been having problems charging my controller, which is not cool since it's brand new and I only have the one controller. I was actually playing Rainbow Six Siege PS5 version with my PS4 boys. And I was having not just charging issues, but also audio issues as well. And they said I was going robotic all the time, but I think it was because my battery was low. Could have been my internet, but I reset my internet 3 times. Didn't seem to fix it. And they were like, "Oh, change your controller, change your controller." They didn't know I was on PS5 because I just got it the day before. And I had mentioned that I had got a new PlayStation controller, and of course they thought it was a PS4. And then finally, they'd been bitching at me for like an hour and a half. They're like, I was like, I can't change my controller. And then they're like, why? And I was like, because I'm on PlayStation 5 now. And I was like, you can't use PS4 controllers on PS5? And I was
Nope.
like, nope.
Wait, can you
You
use
cannot.
Xbox One controllers on a Series X or a
Yep.
Series S? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
100%. Yeah. To be fair, Xbox is the only one that has forward, backwards. All Xbox One family to present controllers will work on an
Sure.
Xbox of any form factor from a one on.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't recommend it because the wireless and the OG ones kind of shit,
Oh,
in
yeah.
my
The
opinion.
original one? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's there, baby.
Yep.
And you don't need a dongle for it. So yeah, I've had a hard time charging it. I couldn't get it to charge via the PlayStation, via the included USB-C cable. Um, it is a USB-C cable, which is nice because I keep my main gaming controllers. So I'll have my Switch Pro controller, my Xbox, and they're already USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh, I'll just use my USB-C cord, which is actually a stock Nintendo cord that came with my Switch
Mm-hmm.
because they gave me a 10-foot because it's Nintendo and they give a shit about their consumers, unlike the 4-foot that came with the PlayStation 4 controller. And it lights up orange or amber around the touchpad because there's still lights around the touchpad. It went amber on the PS4, and I thought, okay, it's charging. Went to play later, was not charged. Um, and then, some people are like, oh, well, plug it in the PS5. And I was like, I tried that. Didn't have much luck there either. Also, short cord, not going 10 feet across my living room to the fucking PlayStation to sit with my face a foot from my 65-inch TV. That's not happening. So I had it plugged into USB-C Nintendo charge cord, which I've been using for all of my game charging shit
Mm-hmm.
for years and years and years and years and years since 2017. Zero problems. It itself is plugged into an Anchor power strip that has USB IQ ports on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has intelligent charging. So it's not like it's not getting enough power. And they're USB 3.0. So it's like on all it checks all the boxes. Everything's been fine. I charge all of my shit from that fucking thing. And I couldn't get it to work properly. Like the light would come on and then the light would go off, and I'm like, what? That's weird.
And again,
Yeah.
non-user serviceable, so.
So my workaround right now, which is shitty that I have to do it, but I have the capability to do it, is I plug an Anchor rechargeable battery into the fucking cord, and then I just let it run, and it seems to be charged fine from a battery bank. That's just dumb. Like I shouldn't have to do that. I don't know what's up with that. That's stupid.
That's like some
So,
Apple nonsense.
yeah. What just happened?
I don't know.
I flicked off of my note somehow. Accidentally. So charging, I've had a problem with. So here's the experience I had. So now on to the actual practice of the haptic sonic voice coils, which I've heard from other PlayStation 5 friends, a friend of mine named Richard, and of course our very own Damien, who've been like, oh, it's so next gen and it's fucking amazing and it's mind blowing. And I'm sitting here trying to experience these voice coils. And I think, much like the Switch's underutilized HD Rumble, or the even more underutilized Xbox One to present Series X console's Quad Rumble,
Mm-hmm.
or dual rumble impulse triggers that they have. Kind of depends entirely on the game you're playing. Like, they feel fine. Like, I don't feel particularly mind blown by them, which obviously is a big selling point, and
Right.
all that whatnot. Because for me, like, they're not much different than the Switch's HD Rumble. Like, they're just not. Um, you
And
know,
Switch uses what kind of tech for that? They use basically motors and weights, or are they using a sonic type thing?
so Switch has a tri movement in 3 axes this way, so it can actually like move against your palm. Uh, Basically, kind of like a version of the linear magnetic on a spring
Okay.
haptic motor, which Apple uses a lot. They call it Taptic. This is a 3 axis version of this, so it vibrates, but then it can like go this way and then this way and then like,
Right.
so you can feel some sort of change or shift, as it were. You can feel a shift, sort of. I don't think it's to the extent of the thing that's physically shifting in 3 axes
Hmm.
as the Nintendo Switch HD Rumble. Um, and certainly over a traditional motor, you can sense like a finer resolution of like quote unquote vibration detail.
Hmm.
Because essentially a sonic voice coil is a form of a subsonic speaker.
Right.
Um, and for my money, it almost feels like the bass line or perhaps the sound effects channel of the video game
Hmm.
is just being routed straight into the voice coil. So you're getting a lot of granular, like small, super small, subtle things, or like footprints and stuff like that. And it feels fine. Um, but if you've felt the Switch since 2017, it does not feel revolutionary. I'm sorry to say. Um, and I tried it out with a ton of games, so don't give me any. Oh, well, you didn't try it out with the right thing. I was like, well,
Yeah.
bitch,
Tried it out with a
I
game that was specifically designed for that
I
task.
tried it with Astrobot, which is supposed to be the showcase for it. I tried it with Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was a not necessarily a launch title, but a launch window, that Christmas game that came out with it. So it should have all kinds of fancy vibrations and stuff.
Hmm.
Playing Horizon 2 right now with it, which should have tip top stuff with it. And Rainbow Six Siege, which does have full um, DualSense support. Um, so it felt like a normal Rumble on Siege. Horizon 2 felt better. Um, yeah, like I just don't think it's mind blowing
Sure.
because at the end of the day, you have 2 points of haptics that are producing different vibrations
Mhm.
in the handles versus you have 3 points of haptics in 2 handles in the switches. I'm sorry, that math is just better for me,
Right.
and I've felt the difference in it. I will say, however, over the switches, the strength of the sonic coils is on par with Xbox's Rumble, which uses traditional Rumble. So in terms of like a strong Rumble, it does produce that. So that's nice. Um, so these adaptive triggers. Let's talk about these adaptive triggers. I was certainly the most curious about this since this bit of tech isn't in any other console.
Right.
You can't. It's not in any crazy shit like the Valve Index or anything like that. It's not in anything. Totally new, brand new thing. So I think it depends on the game. Astrobot's Playroom really showed me. Again, it's a showcase piece that comes with the console, basically designed to show off the controller. Actually, it's a really fun platformer. I know everybody said that, but fuck, it's actually really well designed. I was like, oh, this is like a fun game if it wasn't like a cool tech demo too.
Hmm.
Um, so it's definitely the standout feature of the controller because it's so wildly different and it's so weird after years and years and years and years and years of playing video games. and your triggers just, they go in and they come out, and maybe they have different tensions on them, and you're used to slamming them all the way down to the fucking thing, and
Yeah, whatever the stop is. Yeah.
yeah, whatever the stop is, or sometimes when you break the stop and you broke it. Uh, thanks a lot, Doom. Rest in peace, Master Chief Controller.
Oh, that one. Damn.
Yeah, it still technically works, but the trigger goes all the way,
And
and
then
the
some.
right bumper sometimes flies off
Yes.
the controller.
Yes, that's an Xbox thing. I have 4 controllers that all the left bumper has
So,
a wing.
so in Astrobot's Playroom, so the triggers, like some of the first examples they show you is like tugging on something, and you're like tugging something from a wall, and so you jam the trigger down, and they've got pretty decent travel. I wouldn't say as good as the Xbox Series controllers. Um, Definitely more travel than a Switch trigger, because Switch triggers are basically on or off. They don't really have much travel, but they still feel really good. I still keep talking about how good the Switch Pro controller is, and will continue to. God damn it! It's just so well designed. I'm sorry. Um, so I think the trigger has a little bit more pull than the PlayStation 4's controller. And you can definitely, at least in Astrobot, you can definitely feel it resisting you, which is so weird
Mm-hmm.
at first, because you're like, the console's off, you're like flicking the trigger, and it's like, oh, these feel just like normal triggers. They maybe feel a little bit heavier when the console's off than your typical trigger, but I've seen teardowns of this thing. There's a lot of shit going on. There's a gear, there's a pin, there's a gimbal, and then there's a motorized worm coil that's hooked up to the gear, and that's what's basically stopping or tensioning or
Sure.
allowing the travel to be less. And so what I found over numerous games is that sometimes the resistance can be quite shockingly stiff, but if you keep pushing, like the resistance will just give
Right.
out the bottom.
The
And
controller
I'm
will yield
sure
to keep it from
it's
breaking.
probably designed that way.
Right.
I would hope so. So we'll see in time. Dame says his day one controller has been holding up just fine, and he's played hundreds of games on it. So hard to say. So I booted up Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I'd heard that the web slinging was fantastic. Like you could feel like the thwip, and then like the jerk of the web slinging, and everybody talked it up. I booted it up, and I was like, "Are these fucking things on? What is happening right now?" Because this feels not really any different, and I was so fucking disappointed. And I was like, "Okay, like either these features, like it depends on the game. I feel like they're totally underutilized. So like they don't work on Destiny. Nope, it's just
Right.
regular triggers.
Because why
Um,
are you, especially right now, why are you going to specifically code something for one particular platform, one iteration
sure.
of one particular platform?
Well, I would hope now it's because Sony owns them. I realize they're not beholden to Sony
Right.
somehow because they're insane, but whatever. Um, so Siege was the most curious one for me because sometimes it was like non-existent, the trigger pull, and then other times it was like perfect. And I wrote in my article, there's an AK-12, and having fired many real AKs, I know what they fucking feel like in real life. And the amount of tension and like the kind of it's like slack and then it's hard and then it's nice and tight pull until all the way. It was fucking perfect in Rainbow Six Siege. And I was like, "Ooh, this is nice. I like how this feels." And then I switched to another gun and it's like, "Is this thing on?"
Right.
And it's just it's so wildly variable from gun to gun to game. It's just very strange. Um, Overall, I think it's pretty cool. It's just it's the same thing as HD Rumble or the fact that there's Rumble motors in your triggers on your Xbox. A lot of people don't know that. Play a Halo game, they're there.
Right.
Or Forza is actually a good example on braking and the clutching.
Mm-hmm.
They do a nice little trick there that feels really good.
I tend to
Um,
turn haptics off because I just find it distracting. So
Well, there's haptics and then there's adaptive triggers.
Mhm.
So,
But I'm just saying in general,
but I
like,
mean, you turn vibrations off on your controllers.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, fair enough. I've personally have been enamored with haptics, or to put it properly, since they invented the goddamn thing, the Rumble Pack
Mhm.
on the N64. I was so enamored with that fucking thing when it came out. I was like, what? It vibrates when you shoot fucking lasers and shit in Star Fox?
Mhm.
This is fucking awesome. Plus, the thing was so goddamn strong it rumbled itself out of the fucking port on the bottom of the 64 controller. Oh god, good stuff. So Pro, back to the Pro Con list here. On the PS5, as expected, anything with an NVMe class M.2 SSD, everything loads quickly. I noticed PS4 games loading quicker. It's to be expected, and honestly, with an NVMe equipped gaming PC, my Mac's equipped with an NVMe type SSD. My phone's now equipped with one. It's par for the course, and everything's NVMe now, and it's awesome.
Right.
Across the board, it's a great piece of tech. It's fantastic. Con, I cannot believe that I cannot transfer my PlayStation 5 games to my external 4 terabyte hard drive
Just
and vice
when you
versa.
wrote that, I went, are you kidding me?
I, I can't. So,
Like, I can't take
so,
PlayStation seriously with gas like that.
so, so to clarify, you can transfer a PlayStation 5 game to your hard drive, and you can transfer your hard drive game, your external hard drive game, to your PlayStation 5 SSD. However, what you can't do is do fucking anything else at all with the console while it's transferring. You want to play a game? Nope. You want to listen to music? Nope. You want to do anything other than watch the fucking load bar? Nope. You want this to take a quick amount of time and give you a good time estimate for transfer? Nope. You get a simple, if you've got a queue, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and a bar. You don't have a
Jeez.
percentage, you don't have a time. And this is maddening because having lived on Xbox Series X for well over a year now, where you can do this stuff in the fucking background. And not only that, in what seems to me 5 fucking times the speed that the PlayStation can do this shit at, is ridiculous.
Right.
And yes, I do have a mechanical drive, so sure that's going to be slower. However, it's a 3.0 drive,
Mm-hmm.
which is exactly the same type of drive that I'm also using on my Xbox Series X to hold a bunch of shit, and I got a 5 terabyte one in there, and it's like it just transfers so much fucking faster on the Xbox,
Right.
and it does it in the background. It doesn't give a fuck, you know. And it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You can't do that in the background because it says on the box. I can see it here now, which is so fucking ridiculous, by the way. Because the box is about 3 times the literal box that it comes in. It's about 3 times the size of the box of Series X, which is not surprising since the console is big. But the box says Sony PlayStation 5, 8K, which we all know is a lie, 4K HD, HDR, non-disc version. I got a digital version because I
Right.
wasn't going to give Sony my $600 for a fucking disc drive that I'm not going to use. And it says 825 gigabyte SSD. How much of that SSD do you get? About 600, which is stupid, utterly ridiculous. An Xbox gives you a terabyte. How much is usable? Oh, 888.
Right.
Fucking stupid. Fucking stupid. I can't. It's so dumb. And I've had to transfer stuff so many times with, Horizon coming in at 75 gigs. Rainbow Six Siege is 80 gigs. I got other games, they're 80, 75 gigs a piece, easy. And so I have to swap.
Right.
I have to swap and I have to wait, and it takes like 30 fucking minutes to move 100 gigabytes. Like, like,
Like, why? Why?
it
Why?
don't. It
Right.
doesn't make any sense because clearly the hardware is better and more capable. It's just I can't. Makes me mad. Makes me mad talking about it. Yeah, I said some really mean stuff in the write-up. I said, "Go fuck yourself, Sony. It's garbage." Oh yeah, I said, "Go fuck yourself, Sony. Xbox lets me do all of this at fucking speeds of the actual drive and writing to the SSD in the background while playing a ray trace game that's being streamed to Twitch. Get your shit together, Sony."
Right.
So I have an update on this one that I'm about to talk about. So Pro, oh wow, I can log into my Apple Music account and I can listen to all the shit that I have in my account as an Apple boy. It's built into PS5. That's dope as shit. And then I wrote con, very big caps. What the fuck do you mean there's no play, pause, or skip track pull down in the quick menu without having to stop my game and go to the Apple Music app and do it there? Fucking useless. So I have an update on that. So there is a pull down for play pause. It is not in the fucking quick menu or whatever the fuck it's called in PS5. It's in this dumb fucking shitty obnoxious fucking card system that they have where they have like recent fucking games and recent fucking just cluttery bullshit UI shit. And it's in there. And there is a play pause and a skip and a shuffle and all the things that I was looking for that I previously shit on Sony for. It's there. Is it easy to get to? I don't fucking think so. But it is there and you can do it like while you're playing a game. And it's still pretty awesome that you can do that. And I can go to my playlist of game music, and instead of plugging in an AirPod Pro or something with a headset over it, it is just nice. I would very much like Xbox to have this. And honestly, there's no reason for Xbox not to have Apple Music. They already have the Apple TV app. Like, I don't
Right.
get, like, why is that music not, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. Hopefully it's working on it or something. Hard to say. So Pro
Might have been one of those things where they went so far before where you could do picture-in-picture TV while you were gaming, and everyone went no. They might have gone, okay, it just plays games, guys.
Don't forget it transfers games while you're playing games in the background.
Right.
Let's not forget that. So I actually think that the interface is very polished and pretty looking on the PS5.
Yes.
The chat interface is 100% improved. I like it way better than the chat interface on PS4. Huge improvement. I am glad I'm able to hot swap my 4 terabyte hard drive over, and it doesn't seem to have too many issues. I say that as a caveat, and you don't have to reformat. While it's been documented that the PS5 uses a fork of PS4's Orbis OS, which is a Unix-based system, what's stupid is the lack of things that are normal in the PS4 UI. And I say that because essentially it's using the PS4 OS. It's building block that's fine. Xbox is built on Windows 10, a variant of that. We know this. So I don't have a problem with that. It's the problem that it's built on that and it's somehow lacking these features. What? What?
Right.
If it's literally built on the same OS, what the fuck are you talking about, Sonny?
Right.
Just super simple, basic interactions, like the fact that your PlayStation button on PS5, you hold it down, you get a power menu, start, restart, log in, log out, turn off controller, whatever. You hold it down on this one, it takes you to your game menu. I'm like, no, I don't want that. That's not the function you've trained me with since 2013. No. Can you change that? Nope. How do you get to your power menu? You have to lightly tap the PlayStation button.
Lightly tap?
You have to, lightly tap. Because if you tap it too quickly, it'll do something else. Right? Nuts. That pulls out this like weird, like function OS thingy that's like kind of tiny and there's a bunch of little icons. Then you just scroll all the way over to the right, which itself feels like the cross media bar, the XMB from the PS3, PSP, and Sony Bravia TVs of that era. If you
Wow,
had
that's a
one, you know
callback.
what I'm
Yep.
talking about, because that interface was everywhere. And while it wasn't a great interface, at least it was universal. So it was like, oh, it's a Sony product. I know how to use it, which is
I even think it showed
bad
up kind of
interface.
on the
Cool, it was
Vio at some
universal.
point in time. Yeah.
Probably 100%, I'm sure. But it's just weird. You pull it up, you gotta scroll all the way over, you hit the power button, then you get your power menu. So let me count. So that's quick tap, big list of shit, scroll over to the right, so like 7 icons, hit the power button, then get to the menu to shut off the console. Are you? That's dumb. Dumb. It's dumb. Should be able to change it.
When every, not only previous PlayStations, every other console, long press their whatever icon.
Yeah,
power
it's true.
off.
It's the same on the Switch.
Yep.
Same on the Xbox. Yeah.
Same on a Stadia. We'll help. We'll let you shut down the program.
There you go. You know, it's just one of these things of it's 2 steps forward of ingenuity on Sony's part and 3 steps back across the whole interface. And I feel
it's not even
it's the
3
whole
steps
thing
back.
every
It's
fucking time.
Yeah, it's why? Like,
yeah. Do I have folders to organize my games? Nope. Something that pisses me off. So you have really big icons on the PlayStation 5 UI. Really nice, lovely, huge cover art. If you're only an Xbox boy, the only thing I could say is big, huge tiles, somewhat similar to Xbox. Very similar. You get big, huge tiles in Switch. Too.
Right.
These ones, tiny as fucking balls. They're so fucking tiny. It's ridiculous. And I've heard some people complaining like, oh, well, they're not that tiny. And I was like, okay, I'm 10 feet back. I have a 65-inch 4K TV. They're fucking tiny. If I can't read the text on Horizon 2 Forbidden West on the icon,
just up the subtitles in the settings. Right, it's in the accessibility, right?
Nope, doesn't change it. You have a zoom, but it's one of those shitty zooms. It's like a big glossy cube that zooms stuff. It's like a small, like pip size screen. It's the dumbest thing. It's so dumb. I can't even. It's fucking ridiculous. So something that's weird is for some time now. Actually, every time I play my PS5, it's not just any time, or sometimes. Every time I boot up my PS5, I have this 4 TB hard drive that's plugged in. It should, at boot, look at the hard drive. On PlayStation 4, it was ready to go as soon as you turn it on. Occasionally, if there was an update or if it was doing something with the hard drive, it would have a PlayStation icon that meant it was doing something with the storage. Give it a minute. It's doing stuff, which is fine. But you know it's doing it. This just straight up sometimes doesn't talk to my hard drive. And I've seen some stuff that are like, oh well, you know, your cord's going out or your hard drive's going out. I was like, nah, I've had this drive for 2 years on my PS4. It hasn't moved. If anything, it's gathered dust. And it has worked every single time, countless hours. And as someone who's torn apart hard drives and put them in new enclosures, I know when a fucking hard drive's failing, it's that click, click, you know, or click, 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 click,
yeah.
You know, or if you put your ear to it, you can hear like some scraping, or any number of things. You can determine this without having to actually pull it apart. That hard drive is fine. There is nothing wrong with it. My PS5 just doesn't fucking read it sometimes. One day, actually on Wednesday, I turned it on and I got the PS4 icon for it's accessing the drive, and it's like, but it was like in the center of the screen. It was like a black square. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And so I went to boot up a game. That icon's still there. I load all the way into a game, that icon is still there. I wait 5 minutes, that icon is still there. I'm like, okay, we're gonna reboot. It's ridiculous. So, and then speaking of shit that's ridiculous, so let me clarify. So with the PlayStation 5 at present in 2022 February, you can download PlayStation 4 games to the hard drive. You can download PlayStation 4 games to the SSD. But you can't download a PlayStation 5 game to the SSD. Or you can't download a PlayStation 5 game to the hard drive. You have to download a PlayStation 5 game to the internal SSD. Then transfer it to the hard drive, which we've already stated takes a long fucking time.
Right.
You cannot target select the PlayStation hard drive for the external from menu. Can't do it. Not possible. You can do this on PlayStation 4. Again, why? So, and for the record, before anybody gets after me, I do have a second generation for the updated PlayStation 5 digital edition, which means, according to YouTube's teardown, it has a 35% smaller heatsink and runs 5 to 8 degrees hotter as a whole. And I kind of covered this a little bit. I have it laying down on its side belly because, as opposed to vertical, because it's gigantic, big, it's tall, it's deep, it's fucking huge. Already talked about it. Yeah. So a big touted feature, which is something the Series X has, but you have to do some finagling to get it to work. So PlayStation has 3D audio. They have it from the jump. They have a special processor for it, actually, which is actually smart of Sony, in my opinion. And they have like a whole litany of settings for it. So you have a thing where it scans your room to optimize 3D audio for your particular space, which is pretty nifty. Mm-hmm. And then they have 3 sound profiles, so you can go through these different sound profiles, and they have some sound effects. And they're like, okay, which one sounds best? Which one is one too high? Is one too low? And like, it's just a nice little setup, right, little process wizard type thing. And I was like, oh, that's clever. I like that. And it genuinely, when I have my headset in, which hilariously is my Xbox Series X 20th anniversary headset, it's got, the 3D audio really works. It sounds really great. For my money, for those who want something to compare it to, it sounds basically like the spatial audio feature on Apple Music, if you have a supported headset. Or I think Spotify's got some spatial stuff now, if I'm not mistaken. Some other people have spatial audio.
Right.
I think spatial audio is fucking fantastic. Big fan of it. It's super sweet that it's like within menu setup and you can customize it.
Right.
And there's a bunch of tuning things, and they're specific to the 3D portion of the audio, not specifically like, oh, you can change the treble and the bass and the whatnot. It's specific to that type of thing. So this kind of pissed me off. So I have a pretty capable 5.1.2 Dolby Atmos surround sound setup. Mm-hmm. And PS5 has fuck all of a time getting it to set up correctly. It kept wanting to default to 3D audio, which would only make my front channel happen, which is not what I want if I have true fucking surround sound.
Right.
Like, I was like, no, I don't want your 3D audio. I have real 3D audio. Stop it. Stop defaulting it. I eventually got it working correctly, but the fact that, they have a Dolby button in the settings, and I have a Dolby Atmos equipped speaker setup. Mm-hmm. On my Xbox, it just does it, and it does it correctly. On PlayStation 5, there's some weird hoops and finagling to get it to set correctly for some reason, which is absolutely asinine, because PS4 does all this Atmos shit just fine. I can't fathom. Again, I'm saying all of this from a point of PS4 was my go-to. Like, everything just worked. It was definitely superior to Xbox One in that era.
Mm-hmm.
Just interface, everything it did. It checked all the boxes, did everything right. And the PS5 has so many good things and then so many bad things. It's mind-numbingly frustrating as someone a week ago who didn't have any of these problems and should be able to jump into the next generation with no problems
Right.
and is incredibly tech savvy. And it's just like,
Like
who the fuck chose these
I can almost
things?
forgive the, the 3D haptics. Right? I can almost forgive
Mm,
that because that is something new that they tried that wasn't something that was available on the PS4. But for
sure.
features on the PS4, like your
Yeah.
3D audio, to not work on a PS5, which is an iterative upgrade.
Well, and what blows my mind is, so again, it runs the same operating system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, people have said in the past, it doesn't have backwards compatibility. It does have backwards compatibility. I play several PS4 games on it on Boys Night because there's no PS5 version.
Mm-hmm.
And those work just fucking fine.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel just like a PS4 game and feel just like they should. And there's no, at least so far, no issues that I've encountered. I know it doesn't run every single PS4 game. Um, and I can see in my library of games, they have a nice little tag of PS5 slash PS4 if it
Right.
has two different versions available. And then I can see if it says just PS4. And then I can see they have another one that's longer that says playable on PS4, which means it's not natively compatible with PS5 without some kind of update
Right.
for whatever backwards compatibility reason. So it does fucking mind blow me, just some of this stuff. Um, so this is a small thing, but it was kind of a big con for me. And as I think I mentioned in the thing, I actually just received my Switch OLED tonight. In fact, I unboxed it before we got on the show.
Nice.
I unboxed this PS5 and I was just like, man, this is some low rent packaging. Like, this is some eBay seller, like
I likened
a
it. I
Karen
likened it
packaged it.
to back in the day when you would buy a plattered hard drive and it would come with these flimsy plastic cups.
Nate, what do you mean back in the day? I got a hard drive last year that was packaged just like that with the two cups
Yeah,
and then the
that's
static cling bag in a box, and that's it.
that's exactly what this reminded me of.
Yeah.
When you showed me this box, I'm like, that's
Mm,
really the packaging they put on there? Two cups.
yeah.
And it doesn't even look like substantial material. It looks like that
Yeah,
egg
it's
carton injected
it's
foam. Or
it's
not
egg
foam, but
carton
cardboard.
injected cardboard. So paper mache cardboard.
Yeah.
It was pulped, it was glued, it was pressed, it was dried. Then
Then
they threw a fucking piece of plastic around the PS5 and they put it in. And then they had a couple of boxes that had, I shit you not, like fucking
there's space.
glad.
But there's
They're like fuck.
space between the top and like it doesn't even fit the entire size of the packaging.
Yeah,
Like
you're right.
that PlayStation could have shifted up and down in the packaging the entire time.
Oh yeah. Well, and then also the thing that wilds me because it's such a weird shape is, so if it's cupped on each side, if anybody hits it in the middle, like while this is moving around in a warehouse, it's fucked. Like what?
Maybe, yeah.
What? That doesn't even make sense. Um, and then to top it all off, this blew my mind. It really genuinely blew my mind. As somebody who does his inventory for his business, I've seen so many packaging types you wouldn't even fucking understand unless you work at Amazon or something in the warehouse. I shit you not, like they had these twisty ties, and everybody knows what a twisty tie is.
Yeah.
It's a piece of wire, usually paper or plastic or something on it. And these looked like fucking Glad brand
Mm-hmm.
twisty ties. They were shitty. They fell apart in my hand. I was like, what the fuck? And it was like wrapped around the cords and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck is this low rent shit? In comparison, and you can look up unboxing videos. You unboxed the Xbox Series X. First of all, the cardboard's really nice. It's 3-ply. It's nice. It's soft feel to the touch. Like, ooh, it feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
The cardboard on the PS5 is fucking single ply. Single ply.
Right.
Not dual. Single ply. Just fucking basic ass bitch cardboard from like a fucking cereal box.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a handle on it. Okay, fine. Whoop-de-doo.
I don't know that I'd trust that handle with that cardboard. Like, you could be holding the handle and the whole PlayStation's going to drop out of your hand. And thankfully, it's got the double cups around it that, will protect it from a long fall.
Sure. Oh, here. This is just for you, Nate. But
yeah, don't get tied up in your stuff.
This is the size of the box.
Jesus.
You've met me in person now.
Yeah.
How big is this box?
What the?
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's like the size of my torso and crotch and neck. Ridiculous. You compare that to the Xbox Series X, and it opens, and there's like nice like rope things that like gently like raise it up, and there's this nested black foam around it with this pristine fucking little Xbox like special made fucking like wrap, like you're unboxing like a precious like transported Indiana Jones jewel or some shit.
Right.
And everything's packed in like very nice wrapping and boxing and stuff, and it's just like
it's got the magnetic enclosures on the boxes, right?
I don't know if it's magnetic. I have some other boxes on top of it. Do you want me to tell you?
Nah, it's not that important.
But you compare that to the OLED Switch, which I just unboxed tonight, and they've got a new packaging because they've got a really slim box compared to the OG Switch packaging. That's some pretty serious package for the switching. I don't know what your Switch was packed like. Was it pretty minimal box or?
No, it was a pretty hefty box with enough space on both sides of it. Like, it was probably the original packaging. I think it's still around here somewhere, but yeah, it had enough room. Like, the Switch was in the middle, and then probably about half the size of the Switch on both ends of it.
So the OLED is like the width of the actual Switch itself without Joy-Cons. And then there's a little bit of chin, and then everything's behind the Switch. And it had a nice, actually very similar to the Xbox, very nice soft touch cardboard. It had nice little inserts to pull out the different things. Still can't say this enough. It had these nice, fancy black twist ties.
Right.
It's just so silly, and it's a little thing, obviously. But when you buy a console, and like this is, people don't buy consoles every day, and the fact that Switches is pretty solid, it's definitely a step beyond PS5s. But then you have like an event unboxing, like a fucking Apple product. Because let's be honest, Apple packs their products really fucking nicely, even if it's a goddamn charger cord.
Samsung as well.
Samsung has good packaging. Anchor. All of Anchor stuff has really nice packaging. And it's a small thing, but I'm telling you.
Well, it's a small thing, but we just recalled three companies off the top of our head.
Sure.
Because we remember that.
Sure. And like, it tells me two things. It tells me that they care about their product enough to put it in good packaging.
Right.
And what Sony tells me about their packaging is that they care enough to put it in a box to ship it to you.
Right.
Maybe it'll be damaged. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Like, whatever. Hope you bought the fucking extended warranty or some stupid shit.
Yeah, don't worry if it gets damaged. We've got plenty of them. We'll ship. Oh.
All right. This is the final thing. This is the final thing I have to say on PS5, and then I'll say one good thing, and then I'll be done with this fucking shit. So setting up my PS5 and upgrading my games is the single most painful process that I've done gaming.
Just
Yes,
the whole thing is so unnecessary
yes,
in this day and age.
it only took me a day and a half in my off hours after work, before the wife got home, and sometimes during. Um, so I'm just telling you, if you are a PS4 boy and you have hundreds and hundreds of games, and you're gonna want to upgrade some of those to PS5, I cannot stress enough how mind-bogglingly frustrating it is in comparison to Xbox.
Right.
And a
Especially
lot of
if
people,
you want to maintain your status saves, etc., etc.
yeah, fucking the most ludicrous rigmarole ever. Like, I felt like I was trying to get an old video game working on my gaming PC with like hacks and
Mm-hmm.
patches and reading notes, and I have to do this and that and this thing. It was ridiculous. I am through it now. The pain is over. um, but it was such a terrible experience.
Right.
You know, it's totally doable. I think it's totally doable. But the fact that
Oh, but
you have to watch a tutorial for each fucking thing is
I was gonna
ridiculous.
say, is it consistent from game to game, at least?
Have you not seen what I wrote, Nate?
Yes, but our podcast audience hasn't. This is called a setup.
It is not consistent one fucking bit. It is 10,000% different for every fucking game. And it's like, why? Why? So, to put this in perspective, on Xbox, you buy any Xbox game from the Xbox One era to the Xbox Series era.
Mhm.
It's going to install, it's going to launch, and it's also going to have installed the correct version for your console. Maybe that download's a little bigger, maybe it's a little smaller, but it's going to do it and it's going to play.
Mhm.
To use a term from Apple, it just works.
Right. This is not just Xbox One to series. This is Xbox 360, Xbox OG.
Oh, yeah,
If
that's
it's
true.
playable on backwards compatibility, it just works.
That's true.
And your save
We're,
state,
we're counting the old stuff for
yep.
360 and
If your save state was
original
uploaded
Xbox.
to a cloud on either one of those, guess
Well,
what?
there was no cloud on the
Well,
OG Xbox, but there was a cloud on 360.
right, on 360.
There is an extra step you have to do on 360, though. I will say that there is one extra step to get the save data over, but it's not complicated.
But it's there. Yeah, it's you sign
Yeah,
in.
not complicated. So I'm gonna run over just a handful of examples and not even get into the other ones that I did since I wrote this. I say angrily. We're gonna take No Man's Sky. I started playing No Man's Sky on PlayStation 5. Have well over 1,000 hours on my save. You sure as shit better believe I want to keep my save.
Mm-hmm.
So No Man's Sky has a free PlayStation 5 upgrade. A free upgrade is not the case for all PlayStation 5 games. In order to get your save for No Man's Sky, you must download a separate application from PlayStation Network for the PlayStation 5 version. To get your save, however, you must boot up on PlayStation 5 a fully installed PS4 version. Go to a separate menu at the launch menu screen, find the save, upload it to some separate nebulous cloud save service that isn't PlayStation Network. Then download your PlayStation 5 app. Then go to your PlayStation 5 app, launch the PlayStation 5 version of your No Man's Sky. Go to a separate menu to import PlayStation 4 save data from the cloud. Re-download that save for some reason because it's not like it doesn't exist on your console, right?
Right.
And then hit upgrade. Then you can load your PlayStation 4 save onto your PlayStation 5 game properly and boot up your game on PlayStation 5. How many steps was that? Who's counting?
4. It was 4 steps.
Cool. That's a bit. This process was
Why did you have to
S-
upload to the cloud?
well, I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I could think of that makes any kind of logical sense is that PlayStation did not build some kind of function where the cloud save of PS4, when you download it to PSI, like doesn't like convert it to whatever the save file format is for PS5, using a different save file format than PS4. That'd be the only thing that I could think of.
So why? Okay,
I don't know. I have no fucking idea.
download it, upload
Um,
it, download it.
yep. But the point is, like, so No Man's Sky is a very small game because it's procedurally generated. It's like 14 gigs. This becomes very problematic with only about 600 gigs usable when you have two games of the same game that are like 75 plus gigs.
Mm-hmm.
This gets back into the transporting the data somewhere else temporarily.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Um, this process was similar for Avengers, Marvel's Avengers, and it was similar for the Final Fantasy VII remake, except Final Fantasy VII remake would not let me download the PlayStation 5 upgrade because apparently uh, I have a very unique situation that apparently 5,000 other Redditors have as well, where you have a wife that also games and she has a PlayStation Network account. And because I'm a good husband, I get the free games of the month for her.
Right.
And and she likes RPGs, so I figured at some point she'll want the free Final Fantasy VII remake. Well, that's a different SKU. And when you download that SKU, even though it's on your wife's profile with her own account, but because it's on your console and your console set as home,
Mm-hmm.
that free game overrides your download privilege for the game, which then counts on PlayStation Network as you having not actually bought it. So they want you to buy the $70 PlayStation 5 game version newly. Well, let me repeat that. From PlayStation Network, you cannot download the free PlayStation 5 upgrade for Final Fantasy VII Remake, arguably one of the greatest RPGs of last year, arguably one of the greatest remakes ever made of one of the most famous games of all time. Just saying.
But can you on your Xbox download any of the games with gold games that you had back in the day?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, I have like lots
So,
of them.
which would be the
Not all of
equivalent
them.
of that Final Fantasy remake? You got it on the PS whatever sale,
Sure,
right?
sure. Yeah. Like I bought mine digital,
Mm-hmm.
and then later it became free, and so I put it on her account.
Right.
So at some point in the future, if she wants it, she doesn't have to log into my account and have it active simultaneously as kind of the sharing thing
Wait,
to
so
then
you have
play
it
it.
purchased? You have a SKU purchased on your account?
Yeah, I have a proper purchase. But if you're in a weird situation, which might not be that weird, since I suppose if you were on PlayStation, your wife was on PlayStation, you would have a similar situation
Mm-hmm.
since you also game with your wife, where you would have essentially two copies of digital goods, right? But they're different. And then for whatever reason, the difference says "fuck you" to your purchase copy. Now, the workaround,
God.
because Reddit is good and did save me in the end, is if you go to the PlayStation Network Store app, either on a web browser or the PlayStation phone app, you can go to the store, hit add to account, and then it's in your library and you can download from there. But if you don't, if you're fucking Joe Blow, you're gonna think, oh gosh, I guess I have to pay $70. That fuck me, I guess.
Wow. Wow.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely, absolutely unacceptable, ridiculous, fucked up, so stupid.
Do better, Sony.
Um,
Come on. Making it easy for me to poke fun at you.
now, because I do like Sony first party games, and
Mm-hmm.
you'd think Sony would show me, a loyal PlayStation customer, who, even though, yeah, I've spent the last year and a half shitting on PlayStation 5 and now I own one, big whoop. Um, guess what? I'm still shitting on PlayStation 5 and I own one. So come at me, bro. Um, so I have Death Stranding, 2018 Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, and Miles Morales Spider-Man. These are all PS4 games
Mm-hmm.
that have PlayStation 5 version upgrades available. However, to upgrade, they're not free, even though they are Sony-made games.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you must pay $10 for the upgrade. Now, some of these games are director's cut, and so you get actually different content or new content,
Mm-hmm.
added content that is not available on the PlayStation 4 version. Others, you're just upgrading to a director's content version, which does have more content, but it's also available on PS5. And then others still don't give you a goddamn fucking thing other than some ray tracing and 60 frames a second.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weirdest one of all is Spider-Man PS5.
Uh-huh.
Now, we all know Sony's love affair with Spider-Man. It owns the movie rights, very specifically to that. So, however, they're paying Disney on the back end deal for the video game that is a huge system seller for them as exclusive. Who knows? I'm sure it's probably quite a lot.
This
But
right here has to be my favorite bit of Sony fuckery.
so to upgrade to Spider-Man PS5, it's $20. Why, you ask? The answer appears to be period, long pause, reasons,
Mm-hmm.
period, long pause.
But that's
And not
only if
only,
that's only in a certain circumstance, right?
yeah, you can't go to the store and upgrade the PlayStation Network store, to be clear,
Mm-hmm.
and pay $20 and upgrade to Spider-Man PS4 Remastered, which is its official title. You have to be in the PlayStation 5 version of Miles Morales. As I said, I already had the rigmarole of the upload and save and download and all that shit. Then there's a tab within the game that takes you to a special link in the store that you can only get to the store from there, from this game, to get it for $20. So, on the one hand, you can call me a fucking complete fucking dumbass for spending $10 on a bunch of games that I've already played to get the PlayStation 5 upgrades and to swing around as Spider-Ben's in 60 frames a second ray tracing. Uh, you know, but for me, as someone who has always booted up a Spider-Man game to just swing around the city for no other reason than to fucking feel like Spider-Man for a hot minute as just a chill moment. I've been doing that since Spider-Man the movie game 2,
Mm-hmm.
the original Xbox. For me, yeah, that's a steep price of admission, but I know I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And in that sense,
Well, that's the other thing
fine,
that's
Sony.
confused me about some of Sony's moves was you can buy a game on PlayStation 4 that has a PS5 upgrade, a free one, for $60.
Correct.
If you buy that same game, the PS5 only version, it's $70.
That is also correct. And do you know how much I know that that's correct? Is because I received this PlayStation 5 on Monday the 21st, and Horizon 2 Forbidden West, which is a sequel to the first
Mm-hmm.
game of which I'm very fond of, came out on Friday. I started playing Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation 4 Pro, um, and then had to port my game over to PlayStation 5. Now, the crazy part is games like Destiny, Rainbow Six, download the PS5 thing, boom, done. Saves there, doesn't give a shit, everything's
Right.
smooth. You do have to download a separate application, um, but you go to the library and you have like a cloud download icon, and then when you hit it, it goes, "Would you like the PS4 version or the PS5?" You're like, "Well, thank you, sir. I'll take the PS5."
Right. I'm on a PS. Why? Why would? Why would it give you the option to download the PS4 version if you're downloading it on a PS5?
I shrug at you.
I like someone to stand on my balls. I have a PS5. There's a PS5 version. Give me the PS4 version, please.
Well, maybe the logic is there's so many goddamn PS4 games that you have to have both applications installed to do some fucking upload, download, save shenanigans
Oh, okay.
that you need to do that,
Okay.
which is retarded. Now, Horizon 2 Forbidden West, premier game of PlayStation's very own Guerrilla Games. You So I bought it on PS4,
Mm-hmm.
played it on PS4, saved, uploaded my save to the PlayStation Cloud, got PlayStation 5, downloaded on PlayStation 5, downloaded save from PlayStation 4 Cloud, and then it auto converted into PS5 save. Boom, playing.
That's okay. That's how it
But
should work.
why this one? Why is this one the magic one that works magically easy? Sony.
Because
And also, why, if the same question to you, like you were talking about, why $70 for a game if you're on PlayStation?
5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
Like, why? Because you can.
Because you can.
So silly. The funny though is, if you don't have a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 fans, by the way, if you just go onto your web browser PlayStation Network or your app, you can purchase the PlayStation 4 version. If it's got the free upgrade, boom, it's in your library. You save $10.
Every time.
Well, every time that particular upgrade's available for that particular game
Mm-hmm.
on Sony PlayStation.
Right.
So
It's just so weird.
yeah.
Why?
So PlayStation 5's only one, wrapping it up here. It's my opinion. Xbox Series X is a very polished console.
Mm-hmm.
Everything works. Pretty much you have everything the way you want it. There's definitely some things I'd like them to change on it, but they can add that to software. PlayStation 5 is ultimately a weird beast that is reasonably well built, I think. It's only a 1 year and 4 months old.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things I'm complaining about are things that Sony could fix with software firmware updates, backend updates.
Mm-hmm.
They're all things that can be fixed, hammered out. It's just mind numbing, quite literally, the amount of caveats and stuff.
Right. But the extreme lack of foresight in general that PlayStation has had with their network, like their upgrade process. This isn't a new thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. But like I said, all of those headaches are done. Um, I don't imagine there will be any more PS4 games that I have that will have upgrades, free or paid, that I'm going to get. Like,
Is it worth saving the $10 to do that with a future
I think
game?
so. If it happens, probably in God of War later this year, which will have the same situation, I imagine, as Horizon, where it'll be $50 or $60 on PlayStation 4 and then 70 on PlayStation 5. You bet your ass I'm going to buy it on fucking app. And there's actually one other caveat to that. If you buy it on PlayStation 4, but you have a PlayStation 5 through the app, you cannot preload it to your console. You can only do that if you have the PS5 version. And I know that because I've been hearing it on Reddit from a bunch of people who specifically got the Horizon game, and then on launch day, because it's a chunky boy, she weighs in at like 75, 78 gigs.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you got fast internet, well, there goes your afternoon,
Right.
or evening, or day. Just wacky. So that's what I have to say on my experience with PlayStation 5 in less than a week. One bit of good thing, I have been playing Horizon Forbidden West. It's a mind-numbingly gorgeous game. I'm going to even throw out there that it is the most graphically, ludicrously beautiful game I have played so far in gaming history. As Nate has a light show going on over his stuff. It's a very fun game. I actually was worried when I ported it over to PS5 because I just happened to get a PS5 right as there's this Twitter storm happening
Mm-hmm.
about Horizon 2 bricking PlayStation 5s, and I was like, oh fuck. I called up Dame. I was like, yo, I know you've been playing on PS5. Has it bricked your console yet, man? Because like I'm about to get mine, and I'm like worried. And he's like, no, I've been playing all weekend. We're good. I was like, okay. Um, to their credit, there's a patch like 2 days after that happened.
Sure.
Didn't mention anything about that, but just like fixed general crashes and stuff. And it's true. So Horizon Forbidden West is simultaneously a sequel and an evolution, and is fucking fantastic. However, and I say this because I literally finished Horizon 1 Zero Dawn Complete Edition. Like I played through the whole game. Um, like actually like right as I got Forbidden West. So Horizon 2. So I played the original like all the way through. Hadn't played it since 2017. So I wanted a refresher. Glorious game. Obviously, there's been patches and stuff, but I remember playing it in 2017, and I remember a certain smoothness to it. And Horizon Forbidden West has some bugs. Some people are saying this online. I'm going to confirm this. If you look at my stream, you'll fucking see the bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Number one that's going around, which for some strange reason has been happening since the update that they issued. It kills streams, like when you're streaming to Twitch, and then doesn't tell you the stream is dead. So like I have mine running on an iPad, and I'll casually look over, and the game will say streaming, blinky, blinky, blink,
Right.
And I look at the pad, and I was like, "Is he dead? Dead?" And it's like, "Oh, offline." And I was like, when did that happen?"
Right.
And it sucks because you have to reboot the console, and yes, you can
You have
boot
to
it in
reboot
game.
the console.
Yes, or at least I do. Rebooting is not a huge deal. It's an SSD PS5, so you could be back up and in the game in like 30 seconds.
What
With a
if you're
full
not at a
reboot.
safe spot though?
It's pretty generous on its autosaves,
Okay.
so it's okay. Um, but it is annoying because you can try to start the stream again and it just fucking won't start. It's like, what? That's weird. And it's especially weird because something that has been stronger on the PlayStation platform than Xbox, and I will continue to give this to PlayStation until Xbox changes some shit. The built-in streaming
Mm-hmm.
is superior on PlayStation than Xbox. Just as apart from some bugs, it does seem superior on PlayStation 5 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Makes sense.
but
Ever
yeah,
since
no,
ever since Microsoft went Mixer and Mixer went under, it's just like they that's where they put all their eggs, and that was kind of a gaffe. Yeah.
it's weird. I would think that they would be able to get a better integration with Twitch.
They used to have one, and it was
Don't,
really good, and then
was it really good at some point?
yeah.
Okay, I never knew
Yeah.
that. But yeah, no, there's some weird bugs in Horizon 2, and it feels weird because when you look at the game, you're just like, fuck, this is a good looking game.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything you look at, you're just like, Jesus fucking
Mm-hmm.
Christ. Motherfuckers coded this, they programmed it, they art designed, the lighting. Jesus, it's good looking. And there's just weird shit that wasn't in Horizon 1. Like when you're riding your robotic steeds, they'll like catch on dirt and stuff randomly, and you're like, what? There's nothing around here. What are you catching on that you're stuck on? Stupid robo horse?
Dead
Like,
stop, right? Dead
and then
stop on a blade of grass.
not like a dev stop, but just like a kind of a hitch, and then it like stops because it's like collision detected something, but there's nothing there, or like I find myself getting caught on geometry a bit with just the main character. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, that's weird. Um, and then my favorite one was I was attacking somebody, and then my character like went full stiff and was gliding through the air. I couldn't do anything.
Oh, kind
I
of
was
like
like,
the old T pose, the
and I was like,
cyberpunk T
oh,
pose.
I'm fucked. Okay. And that one was fucked enough that I couldn't get to my menu, and I had to reboot
Oh,
without a save. It wasn't too bad. Like I said, the game's pretty generous with its auto saving, so its background auto save seems pretty solid. But it's just stupid because like I was mid this like quest. I was at the end of it. It was like a short, like little 5-minute thing. But I was at the end of it, and I had to redo it again because I just flying through the air, gliding across water, not moving. It was actually pretty comical on the stream. But it's just weird because the previous game was so polished, as I recall at launch. Um, and this is obviously like the marquee title for PlayStation this year, besides God of War. Um, and part of me is like, well, it's a big team, and probably COVID probably impacted it, like all the games.
Mhm.
It's just weird, and so I'm just letting people know it's a bit buggy, even on PS4 Pro. Letting people know. So I've been playing that. Can't wait to jump into that again tomorrow because I'm really just jiving on the story. Um, music's fucking phenomenal. Horizon, Jesus Christ, it's so fucking good. Yeah, been playing that. There was also a patch this week. Cyberpunk 2027.
2077.
2077, sorry. Had its next gen patch for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. I touched it for a hot minute just to see the ray tracing, because this is a game that has like insane ray tracing on high end 3080 Ti PCs. And indeed, the ray tracing is fucking ballsy in the game. They're one of the few games that has a global ray tracing. So when you see it, it's pretty. And their performances are pretty better and all that sort of stuff. I haven't had too much time to dive into it because I went into Horizon, but it's out by all accounts to everybody. Cyberpunk's charting again on consoles and PC, and in general, Brock next to me here, he picked it up for the first time. He's enjoying the shit out of it. He's like, yeah, I heard about the bugs, didn't want to deal with them. Seems like this is the time. I'm having a great time. And I'm like, sweet. I can't wait to jump back into it myself. So if people have been on the fence, now's the time to jump in. I'll say that with the caveat that according to all reports, I would still not recommend playing Cyberpunk 2077 on a base PS4 or Xbox One or Xbox One S.
Right.
That experience is gimped there. It just is. You can, with a huge asterisk, get away with it on PS4 Pro. It runs fine on Xbox One X. But if you want a solid experience, get one of the next gen consoles,
right,
or obviously on your PC. So that's been gaming for me. I have a Switch OLED. I just unboxed it. I don't know shit all about it, except it felt nice when I touched it. That's all I know. So that's gaming.
And it's going to play everything that you played before on your other Switch, so it's just going to look better doing it and last longer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about last longer. I don't think it necessarily. Well, OLED they'll probably have a little bit of battery life. And since I have had my original Switch since launch, battery is probably a little weaker than it used to be.
Right.
But honestly, I've never really had a problem with the battery on Switch. It's always just been so good. I mean, Nintendo's always made the best handhelds anyway, and it's something they really excel at. But I will say, man, I touched the OLED for the first time, having not even seen it in the wild personally. It feels really premium. Like I was really surprised. Like the new kickstand's super fucking sick. It's metal, which I didn't expect. And then the front surrounding the glass screen, which I didn't know was glass, is metal as well. I was like, oh, hello there, sexy. So I'm looking forward to diving into that, as obviously it's going to be a pretty Switch heavy year, I think, for me.
And the OLED is how much more than what
it's $50 more.
Right.
And thankfully I was able to obtain it. At retail price from Amazon, which was surprising.
Yeah.
Thank you, IGN flash deal.
You feel like that $50 is in the build?
Oh like I can tell immediately, having had a Switch since launch, which is like, very plastic, and you have, the same model essentially I do. It's nice, but it's just very Nintendo, and this feels less Nintendo, if you want to use it that
Right.
type of terminology, because I've never experienced them using
anything that felt premium.
Apple materials, like metal and glass,
everything
and
from
stuff.
the Game Boy to the DS to even like it just felt like a bad Nokia phone. Right?
You know what
when
it
you
actually
when you pick up your PlayStation controller and twist it and it creaks, that's kind of what I've always expected out of Nintendo.
What you know what it reminds me of, as an old gamer? It reminds me of the upgrade from Game Boy Advance to a Game Boy Advance SP, where like the SP, the build quality was better, it was sexy, it was sleek, the controls were better. Like it was just like a crazy upgrade, but it wasn't really like under the hood. It wasn't anything special. But the externals were all improved in some pretty substantial way. Um, and I've only looked at the screen for a hot minute. And something that's going around right now that the Steam Deck officially launched was how shitty the Steam Deck screen is in comparison to the Switch OLED.
Right.
People are just saying like, yeah, Steam Deck is rad as fuck, but the screen is a piece of shit in comparison to your iPhone, your Samsung, or the Switch OLED.
Right.
And I was
but
like,
that was something that's like Steam even said, like we're building a price point product and we're going to cut corners. But we've opened it up that other people can build the premium version of this.
Yeah.
So
for sure. All right, that's gaming. What do we want to go into next? We got a little bit of time.
we've got
Game
entertainment and life stories, right? I don't have a whole lot on entertainment. Like I've been let's run through the quick things. We finished Book of Boba Fett.
Cool. How about that ending?
It was an ending. It was everything I expected. No, it was everything I expected out of it. It was all the fan service that fan service could allow.
It was definitely a lot of fan service. Let's be honest.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think we're far enough away from it. So yeah, I mean, we all kind of expected to see Boba Fett on the Bantha.
You know what's funny? I didn't actually realize he was going back to get the Bantha. I thought he was going back to get Slave 1.
No, I knew exactly where he was
isn't
going.
called Slave 1 anymore because
reasons. Yeah. But yeah, no, I knew he was going back for the Bantha. I'm like, okay, here's that moment. Here's the fan service we all wanted. Like, we got the fan service that he even got his ship back, right? That in and of itself was fan service.
Sure.
So yeah, we like that one. What am I watching now? No, what have I recently watched? I did. I finally sat down and watched Afterlife, Ghostbusters. Speaking of fan service,
right?
And
so, what do you think?
It was absolutely predictable in all the right ways. In all the right ways. Right?
Yeah.
Bob Ginton's.
But it felt like a real Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah.
And not some fucking piece of shit garbage.
Right.
Which was the last one. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
And then on one that actually just came out to Disney Plus, Free Guy.
Oh yeah, we watched that too. We watched that this week.
Again,
that was great.
Horribly predictable, but just good time.
Super funny.
It's Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, and if you're a gamer,
Taika Waititi being Taika Waititi.
That was so good.
Oh man.
It was very tropey, but again, in all the right ways.
Yeah, super good.
Yeah, if you didn't see the ending coming the way it ended, it was like you just weren't like you're not paying attention to the movie.
Sure. Yeah, I think it was a great, dumb, stupid fun kind of movie. And obviously for gamers, it has a little bit more extra Easter egg stuff than the common person. Yeah, fun. It's streaming for free on Disney Plus. Finally, took forever for it to get there. It feels like for me, Let's see, what have we been watching? We watched Free Guy. We've actually been taking a bit of break from TV watching, and we've been doing movie nights, like a date movie night. So we did Free Guy, and then because our anniversary is not too long ago, we did 2 romantic comedies. We did Love Hard on Netflix, which is about a Asian dude who catfishes this pretty girl, and she like surprises him for Christmas, and he's not what his profile picture looks like at all. And hilariousness ensues from there. And then we watched fuck, what is that called? It's got J Lo and fucking um fuck, I can't think of his name. The Wow guy, Owen
Owen
Wilson.
Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got J Lo and Owen Wilson. What the fuck is the name of that?
New movie
It's called.
or
Yeah, it's brand new. Came out on Valentine's Day. It's only on Peacock. It's like a Peacock only thing. What's it called? Are you looking it up?
I am looking it up right
I
now.
see you typing. Like when I see screens flying by and the reflection of your lenses, I know what's happening.
Known
Something
for.
first.
Okay.
You could just go to this year, Owen Wilson or J Lo.
I'm looking for it. Cars on the Road?
No, that's not it.
Marry Me.
Yeah, Marry Me.
Okay.
So, stupid premise. So J Lo is playing
Yeah,
J
that's
Lo
the one.
essentially,
Mhm.
and she's about to marry this dude, like live at a concert, and she finds out that this dude like cheated on her with his secretary or some shit, like moments before they say I do. So she says no in the middle of everybody, and then points to a random dude in the crowd, Owen Wilson, and was like, "Marry me instead." And he's like, okay. And then it goes from there. And it's actually pretty heartwarming. So that was pretty good and funny. Unfortunately, tied to Peacock. So if you don't have it, too bad.
Not Freecock?
Not on Freecock.
Yeah.
Now I feel like you're just playing with me at this point, Nate. Stop it. Stop making me say pea and cock in the same sentence.
Now, I was
Stop it.
listening to another podcast, and they actually brought up that term, and I'm like, that is the worst, best term you could ever come up for the free version of a service that is named Peacock.
Yeah?
That's called Freecock.
Who doesn't want free cock? You know?
Right?
I guess. I mean,
I feel like if I type that into a browser, I'm not going to get anything television related.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. That's not happening at all. Yeah, so we watched all those rom-coms, and they
Nice.
were all pretty fucking great, actually. I was not disappointed at any of them. I think Love Hard, out of the 2 that we watched, was probably the funnier movie. Like there was some shit in that film that was very clever and very situationally funny. Good lines and whatnot. So we did that, and that's pretty much all we did for entertainment.
Yeah,
honestly. So God, life stuff. Closing out the show with life stuff. Unusual for the Fork Show, but here we go. Oh God, where do we? I don't even know where to begin. There's been so many weird life things lately, at least for me. What about you? What about you, Nate? That you didn't talk about at the top of the
right? Yeah, like
3-hour show.
I pretty much covered all my life nonsense right off the rip. Like I'm actually starting to get back out into socializing in public again. That was something I haven't done in 2 years, and
Okay.
yeah, I have a couple of friends that are in a metal band, and actually went to the Whiskey A Go Go last weekend, to go see
Okay.
a show, and it was just weird being again out in public, but walk up and it's like show your card, show your ID, everything's good, you get a wristband, and you go in. And they were very strict about it, but again, it was just okay. Like here we are, we're doing, and I'm going to another show in a couple of weeks,
Oh, cool.
so I'll have to check
Alright.
the dates and make sure it doesn't conflict with an episode.
Okay.
But yeah, like other than that, like we've the last 2 years been so kept cooped up in the house.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
me and Jessica were actually just talking about it. Speaking of being cooped up, because I guess the Batman movie comes out next week.
mhm.
I was like, well, I'm a Batman mega fan, and while I'm not wild about Battinson, people are saying the movie's pretty fucking hot.
Right.
So I'm like, but it's also almost literally 3 hours long, and so
Right.
we were like, fuck. And she's like, we should do it like on a Saturday morning. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. We should. That's one we should like wake up, go to the theater.
Yeah, I mean, getting back onto
Fed.
something that you've been doing with your missus lately, it's like
Yeah.
like my wife and I haven't done a date night in forever. Um,
Me and mine too. I don't think
right?
we've done one all of COVID except for maybe
Like when I came
in
up there, like that was a nice night out.
yeah, I mean I don't think she'd call that a date night.
Well, yeah, but
Like she would not call that a date night. She would call that a I don't know, gathering night. I don't know.
sure,
She wouldn't call it a date night necessarily.
sure.
Date nights are like just me and her. But yeah, no, we haven't really done like the only thing we've done was like our getting together anniversary in September, and then for our anniversary this year, we did like a dinner.
And that's the extent
But
of
other than
things.
that, we haven't done fuck all.
Yeah, that's the extent of like the few ones that we've managed to get. Because when we do a date night, either grandma or sister-in-law come over and they watch the kids, or they do a sleepover over there, and we get a night out.
Mhm.
We go, we eat dinner, maybe have a drink, and then we come home. Like we used to go do like, hey, it's date night, we're gonna go catch a movie.
Yeah.
Or it's date night, we're
Well,
gonna go hit a show at the Hollywood Bowl, or
okay.
you know, do a thing.
Well, yeah, like I said, like me and the wife brought up the Batman. Actually, when we were at our friends, waiting for them to finish cooking dinner for us, and I was like, oh yeah, I think Batman's out. Which is weird for me to say because as a Batman fan, I should know when the Batman's out, but I didn't really. I was just seeing it trending on Twitter like more so than normal. I was like, oh, why is that? And then people were like, oh my god, I saw it. It's so good. And I was like, oh, people are seeing this now. Like, is this test screening? And then they're like, oh, it's out on the fucking 4th of March. And I was like, oh, it's next week. And I was like, well, I want to see it.
Right.
She's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it too. And I was like, oh, I mean, we have to see it in the theater, so I guess we're seeing it in the theater. She's like, oh,
If you
okay,
want to see it, yeah.
yeah. Because the only other theater movie we saw was Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't consider that a date night because if it's being considered a date night, it's me on the date with Spider-Man.
Right.
Jessica,
She's allowing you to go and accompanying you to the movie to make sure that you come home.
yeah,
Right?
that'll be the same thing as when I force her to come with me to see Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I'm so excited for her. And she's just glad that, unlike the first movie, which came out on Valentine's Day, it wasn't on Valentine's Day of this year. Because I was like, oh, you know what's happening. She's like, no, please land on a different date. So yeah, I guess it'll be Batman, and then basically in a month's time it'll be Sonic. Sweet, right on. I'm okay with that. But yeah, you're right. We haven't been doing too many date stuff. Um, and I've been dealing with some other stuff lately. Some personal medical stuff, and I've been seeing doctors and stuff about it and whatnot. So that's just been weird, and obnoxiously forgetful and slow in the age of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, oh, well, there's like a video call here, and oh, you need to go get some labs done. It's like, when do you go to a lab? Well, you have to like schedule it, and then there's like a waiting period, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't walk in anymore. I was like, okay.
It's this weird double
Yeah,
thing.
it's
Like
very weird.
a coworker of mine had to go get his real ID because his driver's license is expiring, and coming up next year, you're going to need a real ID.
I don't know what these things are to
Real
which you
ID
speak of.
is
Is that a California thing?
no, it's a federal thing. In order to travel,
Okay.
it basically replaces the need for a passport,
Oh, is that
right?
what they're called? I didn't know what they
Yeah.
were called. I knew there was like a different type of card. Like here in Washington, and I think it's only in Washington and a couple other states, we have, if you want to go through the rigmarole to get them, they have enhanced
Yes, and that's
driver's
what we have
license.
here as well.
Oh, okay.
So you get a new license with a real ID star on it, an enhanced license.
Okay.
So since his was expiring, he goes, "Oh, let me do the real ID thing because as of next year, real ID is going to be required for in the
Hmm.
states travel."
Hmm.
Um, or having like they're still gonna allow like passports and whatnot. But yeah, you need a passport to travel in the states or a real ID. Um, and to go into the DMV, like he said, he ended up making an appointment. Called up, made the appointment, couldn't get one for 2.5 weeks.
Hmm.
Right? Like call up. I'd like to make an appointment. Cool. We don't have one available for 2.5 weeks. And finally went and did it. But once he got there, it was a half-hour thing. But he got there and said the line was going out and around the corner for people trying to get in and get their stuff done. Typical Californians, the first and last week of every month, it's always inundated because people are trying to get in under the wire for expiring registrations and shit like that. But yeah, with like the whole COVID thing, it just really fuckers up everything. Like getting into a doctor. Like, do you? It's almost do you really need to come in? You're like, I don't know. My GP told me I should. I was like, do you really need to? Yeah, we had my mother-in-law just found out she's got ulcers from stress,
Hmm.
right? And the whole process of getting that done was go to this appointment. Okay, 2 weeks from now, go to this appointment because the first time you could get in, and they were trying everything they can. They're like, can you do all this stuff from home?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just weird. And it's funny. So, I mean, I'll touch on it a little bit because I guess it's not important anymore. But weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
um, I had messaged you because I wanted to specifically talk about a life thing
Mm-hmm.
because I figured it would be cathartic to talk about. And then we ended up not talking about it because I think we had Dame on that time, and
Mm-hmm.
then it didn't happen. But I was still riled up about it. So the gist was, I had like one of those dreams where I'm like married to someone else that's not my wife,
Okay.
and it was a woman from my past, and it was just like one of those dreams that was like so real and vivid and fucking like, what the fuck. And it like unsettled me for like a full like week and a half.
You had
I
your
was
own
just
personal
like,
episode of
what
What
the
If.
fuck? Yeah, it was literally like a what if episode. And I was like, what the fuck is that about? You know? And like it was like a weird one because like I had thought that this particular individual had been let go, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
from my,
Full
I
closure.
don't know,
Yeah.
conscious or some shit for like from like many air quotes like women ago in the sequence of events, right? And and I had wanted to bring it up and like bounce off like what it was, and then that ended up not happening. And I was like stirring about it the Sunday after the show, and like Jessica noticed, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" I was like, "Well, I don't really want to like talk about it because it's like a thing, and I don't want you to get like upset at me for like
Oh, as soon as you open
thoughts
that
or
can of worms, you
something."
can't not tell her now.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it was actually awesome because like we sat down and she talked about it, and she was totally cool and chill and whatnot. Which for some reason I didn't expect, I
Of course
guess.
not.
Which
Why
was,
would you?
I don't know why, whatever. And it was awesome because we talked about it rationally and she had her own thoughts on it. And I was just like, oh yeah. And I felt like lighter afterwards,
Right.
like after talking to my wife, about a dream.
What? Right. You're expecting. Why are you dreaming about your ex-girlfriend?
Sure. Except wasn't my girlfriend.
Or whatever. Yeah.
um but yeah, no, it was like really good, and it like helped like shut it down. And then afterwards it's like, oh god, I don't know why I even was fucking stern about that for like a week and a half or whatever the fuck it was. Like that was fucking stupid of me,
It's one of
and
those you're looking at. What does it mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like I was just like I laid up in bed like thinking about it like days after the dream. I was just like, what the fuck. Like it was so like it's just so weird. Like why now? Like what the fuck? Like I like that was so long ago, and I've moved so on to the point where like old Tim couldn't even conceive of being many years married
Right.
at that particular point of the what if or whatever the fuck. Like what? I don't know. It was a weird thing and whatever. But I guess it's handled. So, you know, there you go. But what did happen, to touch on it, because it does kind of cap on everything that I've talked about tonight, was me maybe not being so adult with my money. As there's a new PS5 behind me, and
And a new Switch OLED. Yeah.
and a Switch OLED, and a
Oh
new
no.
M.2 1 terabyte SSD with heatsink for
So
the PS5.
that that was a smart purchase considering previous article in
Yes,
podcast.
previous article, and like I said, it was 33% off on Amazon. And I was like, oh fuck,
Right.
that's like
You're not going to see that again
a
for a
hundred
while.
plus dollars off. I was
Right.
like, I don't get this now. It's
You
gonna be like $400 for this 1 terabyte
mhm.
fucking one.
And
You know,
PlayStation basically rendered that necessary because of
right?
their
What the fuck?
yeah.
Again, back to what the fuck, PlayStation.
let I'll take the performance it. Let me play some of my older games off of my external drive. Please.
Well, and as the super uber nerdist consumerist in me, no, not necessarily the common people know, because it shows it directly on the teardowns. And I theorized this from the get go, and it is true on the PS5. That at the time, their SSD speeds of, I don't know, it was like 855 gigabytes transfer a
Something.
second.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's not possible yet until the next generation of M.2 NVMe SSDs. So, how are they achieving this in 2020? And then I was like, and I think I had said at the time, even on Fork, I was like, well, they're probably slaving multiple SSDs together to achieve a total theoretical throughput.
Right.
And when you indeed look on the boards, there's about 6 or 4 SSDs slaved together around the CPU that are at the SSD speed that the Xbox Series X has natively. Uh, and now the NVMe dot SSD has caught up to that theoretical speed of their slaved fucking
Striped raid.
they're
Yeah.
hacked together SSD. And obviously it works. You can definitely slave stuff together efficiently, which is what they did do. But I believe they did that for two reasons. Even further put to the point from me buying the SSD today, or actually yesterday.
Get more out of cheaper components.
Yeah, you get more out of cheaper components, and then because of the size of those SSD platters, you can go, oh, well, this is built with 825 gigabytes of SSD because we've theorized that that's the correct cost to performance ratio that our customers desire. And I was like,
wrong.
Sold the PS4 Pro with a 1 terabyte drive. And go on, I'll wait. Or in this case, I'll spend a bunch of fucking money on my new toy.
Right.
Plus the upgrades of the fucking, oh my god, ridiculous. I don't even have a fucking, that's fucking stupid. But anyway, yeah, the wife. So the PS5, like I had called her about it. I was like,
honey, I can get this. Can I get this? Should I
they
get
sent
this?
Me, they sent me an email. It's direct through PlayStation. I've been waiting for this email since I put my name in the hat.
Right.
In September of 2020.
But you didn't have a high enough platinum score.
Well, I don't know.
Or whatever it was.
Pick it at random or whatever the fuck it was. Sure. I was like, if I get the digital edition, I'm only spending this much money. I can put this on a credit card. And she was like, yeah, because she's been trying to find me one. Birthday, Christmas, anniversary, whatever the fuck. Because she already got me the Series X, and she's like, fucking expensive. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I like things. And so she's like, well, I'm definitely probably not going to find it. And here they're basically giving it to you. Go ahead and get it. I was like, okay, sweet. Then that same day, actually, that I ordered the PS5 and they took the money on my account and gave me a ship date, which was incredible to me that it all happened so quickly and smoothly.
Then you get the Amazon ad for the OLED.
Well, yeah. So and then I was reading IGN, and they're like, "Switch OLED back in stock on Amazon." Click the link, and I was like, "What?" And I was like, Blade Chronicles 3 probably gonna be my game of the year. Pretty high chance.
By now, yeah.
Still play a lot of Switch in bed. Just beat Pokemon Legends Arceus in bed. Oh, that OLED would be nice on the eyes late at night. And so I was like, "Ooh, OLED. Ooh, list price." Add to cart, and then I texted Jessica. I didn't call her because I think she was shopping at Walmart, and there's terrible reception in that building. And I was like, "Hey, so I have a Switch OLED in a cart,
and it's midnight."
Yeah, it's midnight. 1 second, the lights fucking died on me.
I think the best part was the fridge kicking back on.
Yeah, hang on.
And now the lights are too damn bright.
Fridge. There we go. And so I was like, well, I want it. She's like, do you need it? And I was like, no. But if I got it, you could have my old Switch and play Animal Crossing whenever you want. And she's like, that would be nice. And then I said, I've checked out.
Right.
And she was like, okay. Then
the hard drive.
Literally yesterday, I'm scrolling on Amazon for something else. And a thing pops up and says flash sale, Samsung 980 Evo 1 terabyte SSD, M.2 with heatsink enclosure. And it was like, it's like 160. And I saw the markdown from 280 or whatever it was.
Yep.
And I was like,
I have a half tera 980 in my system here, and that was pricey enough.
I bet, man. And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna get one eventually for the PS5. In fact, that's why I bought the digital edition, because I knew I'm basically saving that $200 for an SSD. Yeah, I want a 2 gig or a 2 terabyte. My mistake. I don't have that kind of money. Nobody has $450 for a 2 terabyte.
Right. For their
Uh,
video game machine.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a wait until that comes down in price kind of thing. And then my logic circuit was like, well, worst case, when you upgrade to the 2 gig, you can throw this terabyte in your gaming PC.
Right.
Or hook it into an external, make it into an external drive. Since it's got a heatsink. They got some cool
Or even
saber
throw it into your
enclosers.
Series S, right?
Not so much.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it would have to be external.
Ah.
Because series they take the proprietary card.
Oh, right.
Because they built
maybe there'll be a hack by then.
Because they have a card that has like it's part heatsink and it like goes into the chassis itself.
I recall that now. Yeah.
Which is pretty smart, honestly. It does suck that it's proprietary,
Right.
but
and priced as such. That's what sucks.
Yeah. But I'm sure the price on that will come down at some point. And then
as long as they weren't using Western Digital chips.
They have SanDisk as their supplier for the SSDs. In fact, it's a SanDisk designed card. I believe they said really early on that that's who they partnered with on the SSD stuff, which is fine. I mean, you got one of the top 3. No worries.
Yep.
So I called the wife and I said, babe, listen, they got this SSD. I want to put it in my PlayStation 5. And I had told her about the SSD thing and the shipping stuff because she likes economic shit like that. Not necessarily technology she doesn't give a shit about, but she's like, oh wow, that's a big deal. That's going to cause a lot of problems like the chip shortage.
Right.
Just in other things. I was like, yeah, it's a fucking huge deal because that shit's in everything. And so I was like, hey, so remember the SSDs? Samsung has one on Amazon right now. It's like $100+ off right now. It is a flash sale. It's limited time. I think I need to buy this. And she's like, haven't you bought enough gaming gear at this point? Do you need this SSD to survive to play your games? Which I paused and was like, well, no.
But
I want it. And she's like, didn't you say that you put a Switch OLED and a PS5 on your credit card? I was like, yes. She's like, you still have a lot of debt, correct? I was like, yeah, I still have a lot of debt. And then she's like,
are you being smart here?
You could be putting that money towards our Disneyland trip because, as Forkman might know, her family is taking everybody to Disneyland this year for the Christmas thing, and they're supposed to be saving up money for play money because they're covering the tickets and the food and the hotels, which is awesome of them. And I haven't saved a goddamn penny for it because I still need to pay the IRS amongst many people.
God.
And so I was like, well, I haven't put any money towards Disneyland. And then she's like, well, can we put money for Disneyland? To which my retort was like, well, we still have like a $300 cash that we got from my folks for our wedding last year that's sitting on our shelf waiting to be put in a bank or a future joint account, which we could use as a savings and then put towards Disneyland. And then once Disneyland's over, roll that over into baby money fund.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, we still haven't done that. And so then her response was, well, you make a decision. You're an adult. To then which my response was, I have checked out. Gonna be here Saturday.
You're dancing with the devil.
Unbeknownst to me, there was a fight a brewing.
Mm-hmm.
So when she got home, then she was like, I shouldn't have to tell you to be responsible with money, and you're a fucking 35-year-old man, and you should know better, and start saving for a baby. And I was just like, okay, well, fuck. And it was like a little bit of a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got thrown a curveball, and then I started getting mad because I felt blindsided. And then she's like, and then like the goalie's gonna be removed in August. And I was like, August? I thought we said end of the year. And then she's like, well, what if I'm pregnant when we go to Disneyland? I was like, why the fuck would you be pregnant when we go to Disneyland? I thought we were doing it after, like, if not, during Disneyland or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I remember the conversation being around when we had this sort of plan back in
Mm-hmm.
October. And so then we got heated, and then she forgot something at Walmart. So I stormed off, went to Walmart, picked up the thing, came back, started talking about it. She was cooled off. And then she made a point that I hadn't considered. She's like, well, even if I remove your goalie, you still have your hat.
Right.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a thing. I totally forgot about it. I was like, okay, well, yeah, all right, fine. Okay, yeah, you're right. And then we hashed out stuff. But the point is, then there was another surprise that I didn't tell her about yet. So I found out today. I didn't put Switch OLED on the credit card. Went to my debit card, which didn't quite have quite enough money.
Oh no.
She doesn't know about that yet, so I'm gonna figure it out.
So that Switch OLED probably cost you another extra $25.
I mean, probably more than that in the long run. But it's the weekend, so I'll see what I can do. And it's so the thing that's the tricky part about this was so I put the SSD on the card,
Mm-hmm.
but I needed to move some money over so that I had room on the card to get the SSD, which now was a folly move because I erroneously put the OLED on the debit, and the money around that I moved should have gone onto the debit, not onto the card.
And once you pay a card, you can't unpay it.
Yeah, fuck no. You're done. And so I was like, fuck. I have made a mistake, and I'm not going to tell her about it.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
You're
I mean, I'll probably tell her about
dancing
it
with the
after,
devil. That's all I'm
after I
saying.
fixed it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, that's what's been going on in my life.
What little you have left of it, yes.
Yeah, what little I have left of it. I mean, I look at it this way. Like
Your
I
wife
don't.
is really going to enjoy that Switch OLED after you're gone.
She better. Uh, I mean, maybe I stupidly look at it this way. Apart from a handful of new games that are coming out
Mm-hmm.
that won't be on Game Pass, I don't need to buy any more gaming stuff
For a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's definitely a couple of things that would be nice. Like I would like a second PlayStation 5 controller with a charger stand
Mm-hmm.
because the battery life is still shit on the PlayStation 5 controller because it's got 1,001 things that it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I would like a bigger Switch SSD card. Granted, they're not that much money anymore, but I don't need one.
Right.
You
can carry multiple small SSDs.
Yeah, but I don't do that. And the wife is gonna get an old, I think it was a year 2 Switch SSD I had, a little 200 megabyte or 200 gigabyte card. So I've already put that in her Switch because I have it's a fucking strange ass number. It's like a 420 gigabyte card or something like that. It's like 425. It's a really weird amount for an SD card. But that's what I have in my Switch. There's definitely things I want, but I definitely don't need stuff. We've got Game Pass. There's like
For
two
now.
Switch games coming out, at least that are announced. And then probably God of War on PS5. And there's a couple other PS5 games that I wouldn't mind trying. Like I wouldn't mind checking out Returnal now that I have a console to play it on. But yeah, this way maybe I can save money again. As I make a dumb face to the camera. As Nate just shakes his head, going,
I'm not buying it either.
You're fucking dead, dude.
Yeah. You're not convincing me, so you're definitely not convincing her.
Now, the fact that I can't convince a guy who's a gamer on gamer upgrades, I guess I'm really in it now, huh?
Better put in that extra work.
Well, let's close out this show. This has been me. It's Tim. I've been up since 6. That's many hours. And that's an 8. And
who, if Tim doesn't play his cards right, will be no longer on the show because he won't be alive. Hopefully he writes down all the passwords so I can keep doing episodes.
My dying breath would be like, here's Libsyn password. Oh, God. All right. I can close up shop here.
Yep.
All right, that's it. Show's over. Go home, kids.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com. The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival, by author Tim K. Trotter. Available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99. Stopped on Skype. Stopped on audio hijack.
I noticed I had a record button on my stream as well. Can I stop the recording?
I have no idea. Like I said, we had 2 record buttons. Like one was purple
Yeah,
for
mine's
some reason.
white, and then yeah, I just noticed it. I was looking. I'm like, stop recording. Like, I don't want to accidentally click that.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
All right, let me stop my record. Yo.
Hey.
Try not to look so happy. What was that?
I said it's been a long day. Is this all? This might be all fucked up.
No, you're
Does this
fine.
sound
You sound
terrible?
fine. I happen to find a pop filter for once.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Why do you keep ducking?
I'm ducking?
Yes.
I shouldn't be. Hang on, let me see if Skype's turn back auto.
Oh, probably.
No, it's turned off actually. So it's probably
Too far away.
too far away, or the gain's all off because this is being used today. Tell me if this improves.
I mean, it seems fine. It just, before you were ducking out, so nothing. Audio is fine. Maintaining that, a whole different issue.
How about this? Does this seem appropriately maintained?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have my Logic running just yet, so I can't see a meter for myself.
Oh, okay.
So, where did you go, Logic? Ba-da-dum-bum. Bum-ba-dum-bum.
You turn off your automatically adjust settings.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do that stuff because I don't need it to do that. For you, I think it affects your end's recording, and then because all that stuff's handled in post.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah,
because I have mine on, and then I turn the noise cancellation damn near off.
Yeah, it looks like we did episode 125. Okay, so let's just duplicate that real fast. Okay, you did that so fast, I'm concerned you actually duplicated the data.
Who are you talking to?
The computer.
Oh.
Episode 126. What?
The together mode.
Together mode?
Oh, it's just a way you can view. Your Skype call, and it's you and me in a pile of balloons. Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? That's so stupid. Yeah, I see that I'm in a pile of balloons too. See, now this would be the perfect moment for your yay that you're so fucking fond of. So kill that track. This should be a combined, I hope. Nope, it's not. Kill that track. Start at the end, please. Okay, I see sound meters on me. Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Caca!
No caca.
Probably not going to be that loud, I don't think.
Okay.
Gain on? Oh, I don't have extra gain on. Maybe I need to lower that on the mic. Let me see here. Let's do about like that. Am I still coming in good on Skype end?
Yeah, seems to be.
This. Do this. I didn't clean up the old files. Cleaning up old files. I'm gonna mute this so I don't hear myself. I'm rolling in Logic. Long time to roll, I know. I'm not seeing something. Okay. Let's get that up there. Make you bigger. Okay, these are going correctly. Oh, we're in a cabin now. Oh, now we're tiny people being at a barista of some kind. It's just going all around the world in this shit. And now we're at a different barista? I don't know about this one. Very strange. Very, very strange. Okay, that's... No, that can stay like that. All right. I have my last bit of alcohol in the house that I can consume. That is unfortunately not strong enough.
Cheers. What I'm having tonight.
Oh, what are you? Oh, okay. I couldn't tell because you're so small behind the bar.
Oh, I turned that off. Weird.
Oh, it's still on for me.
Okay.
It's a good time. So, I have to... am I on together mode? Why am I on together mode? I wasn't on together mode. Grid view? There we go. There's some grid view for you. How about that? Let's just move that up there. This here. And I think that's probably better for me. Okay, cool. All right, I guess I'm ready.
Finally.
Let's do a show. Oh, are we not rolling on Skype for some reason? Did that stop?
Oh, probably when we were switching modes or whatnot.
I mean, I wouldn't think that. Okay, are you rolling or are you stopping? You're not. Okay. Skype, you are. Okay, there we go. That's weird. It puts the button up in the left-hand corner. Yet there's this purple button in the top left. There's always been a red button for stop recording. Now on the bottom left, there's a purple button too for redundancy reasons. I guess. I don't know. Who's to say? All right. Are we ready to do the cut-ins?
Sure.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Cut in.